live, and then I'm just gonna upload it on first thing on stream. Sorry.
He just wakes up late.
Hello, dreamers. RPG stream. Good evening, gamers. And I don't know. Do you have a preference on? Oh, I have it muted. That's why I'm not hearing it. All right. So you got the music playing already.
I did not turn on any music already. I just left what was on before. I did not know what music. I'm just gonna put the normal Change Stars music and be like, eh.
Wait. All right. I should. The moment this is done. Coming out. Yep. There we go.
Are you doing Garblog these days? I feel like we've been double hitting Garblog a couple times.
I double hit. I did. I already hit Garbog.
Okay, you hit him. You hit him. Okay. I don't think there's particularly anybody that I should hit that you haven't already hit. Okay, I think we're chilled.
Excellent. Well, I'm ready to settle in for a comfy time. A little echo. Oh fuck! No, I know why that is. Sorry, my bad. That's on my end.
Oh, I should. No, my mic's on
It's
actually.
me being a bit of a bimbo.
It's okay, babe. You can be a bimbo. It's fine. It's legal.
Part of the charm.
Yeah.
It is part of the charm. Just like part of my charm is how extra I am.
I fixed it.
I wish I had once.
Alrighty. So, we begin with
in real life.
this group of 4 wonderful diplomats who have been given, for different reasons, have been assigned to the Spinward side politics and have been given pretty free reign to go off and do this very, very important mission. If you would introduce yourselves.
Well, for once, I don't have to rush to make a character because I did it before the game. I suppose I can go first if you'd like. Allow me to introduce myself. The name's Thames. Yvonneran Thames. I am a career diplomat from the opposite side of space after a disastrous arrangement between the people and the the other factions they were contending with in the Bees space. My entire team was more or less reassigned to other tasks. New people were sent in. It was a bit of a fiasco. Little bit of blood spilt. It was a rather unfortunate diplomatic meeting, but I'm here to make up for the failings of my team and pull this one into a cinch.
And they sent you on this mission definitely to make up for the failings of your team. All right, next up, Vosh, why don't you introduce yourself?
I am Saraxquin Vosh. I am a naval intelligence officer in the Trinity Navy. I would tell you some of the missions I have done, but then I would have to kill you. And I am here serving as part of my duty for the mission to bring these folks into the fold. I have some diplomatic skills, but I will say I am here mostly for my piloting and sword play.
Always good to have.
Should the need arise.
Skills.
Velp.
Yeah, I used to be working with the Rast home ships back in the day. So something happened and just couldn't stomach it anymore. And I work as part of Trinity. And due to the fact is, this place seems to be real close to Rast space. They decided to call me back there, even though I told the leadership I don't want to get back into that neighborhood at all.
And finally, Ergats.
Hello. I'm Sancta Ergats, and I'm here as a student of sociology. xenology and other cultures and psychologies in general. Also, Sock Fiddler, thank you so much for the gift sub.
Thank you so much. Oh my goodness. Wow, really on top of things. All right, keeping up.
Keep those feet up, Captain. I mean, who's the captain?
And so
She could be resuming her role from last night.
this group of diplomats have been sent on a mission to bring a mineral and inhabitable system that just happens to be right outside the frontier, right by where Raspace is, into the Trinity. The issue being, it is currently owned by a family of Nusquai. As they arrive at this near the habitable moon, they see that they're not the first ones here, though they expected to be. There is already a very large ship. It is pinging as the Dreamscape. It is a small for a Nusquai super carrier or super cruiser, but it is still enormous. It seems to be wrapping itself backwards around a cargo container. And as you arrive, it hails you. Yeah, sorry we're early, but we were in the area, so we figured we'd just wait around rather than leave and come back.
I'm probably on the comms, and I would say, greetings. We are the emissaries sent by the Trinity. My name is Yestereve Thames. With whom do I have the pleasure?
Of course. Well, we can get to pleasantries once everyone else arrives, but I am a pale nightmare.
Ah, yes. I've heard much about you.
As
Pleasure
you
to
should.
meet you
All
in the
good, I hope.
audio. Yes, I've heard you're a consummate business person. I look forward to doing business with you and your siblings.
As do I. Before this conversation finishes, another ship approaches.
Cocaine.
It's pinging as beginning through understanding. And it does not hail you immediately. You suspect it is complaining at a pale nightmare for being early. And after a moment, it does hail you and says, "Sorry about my family. They can be rude."
It is a pleasure to meet you. You've waited on Thames at your service. With whom do I have the pleasure?
Ah, right. It's not a pleasure. And I am the one called the Face of Sin itself.
Oh. Wow.
He hangs, she hangs up on you instantly after that.
Excellent.
He's my favorite.
Water the Lee. Thank you, Sock Fiddler.
It's another minute or so. And then, to be clear, the ship, first off, this ship looks wrong. To those of you who are familiar with Nusquai personal cruisers, it looks almost like the coral is starved and bending in odd directions. You can look at either of these ships to get more information about them, but yeah, this one just looks wrong.
The sin characters?
Yeah.
What sort of a test would it be to examine?
I would give you a scrutiny test to examine it, like,
Mm-hmm.
physically, to interpret the examinations. Like if you interpret what maybe is causing this, a medicine, right? That's one of the skills. A medicine
Yes.
check about coral and coral health.
I will scrutiny.
How eyes?
Oh no. No circumstance modifier.
No.
Okay.
I'll do a medicine to just get a better understanding.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so yeah, this ship is not. So first off, the scrutiny. This ship is not falling apart. It just is grown to look like it's falling apart.
Hmm.
And for the medicine checks, Vel, you can tell that coral is healthy. And Urgats, not only is that coral healthy, you suspect that coral definitely, or that coral is actively being fed. Like, it is actively growing still.
It's
Hmm.
interesting.
Would
Their
assume
ship
that's
seems
unusual.
to be designed to look like it's falling apart, or grown that way.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be just to act weak as a sort of deception.
It's clever.
Hmm.
As you are talking about that, a massive ship flies in.
It's huge.
This is probably the largest ship, or in terms of New Sky ships, any of you have seen. It is on par with the largest ships, period, you've ever seen. It is a fully outfitted, though relatively standard-looking New Sky battle supercruiser. You can't tell all of the weapons, but there are clearly some weapons on it, and you suspect even more.
Oh yeah. We're
Um,
not getting in a fight with these guys.
Where are
I'd
we?
rather not.
Are we just looking at ourselves down here? Or, oh wait, no, yeah, you've removed the fog. I should
Yeah,
zoom out and
you
show
can
the
see.
world.
You can see the 3 ships that are currently.
All of fate, the dreamscape, and the beginning through understanding. Noise.
So yeah, this ship pings is Fall of Fate,
Mhm.
and
Are we hailed?
no, Lee, you
Yes.
can roll a quick systems check to see if you remember anything significant.
Now, I have by degree sociology and red tape. Would either of those apply their +2 here?
Sociology would.
Okay. Boop. I'm gonna reach that. I'm like, I'm like, aha. Well, you see, and I think, and I'm like, wait a minute. What am I forgetting here?
There's something there. You studied this. You know something about weapons. Ah, yes. You can use that super twist to do some stuff if you want. But what you know about weapons is whoever this is, by flying in with their weapons openly displayed, or with at least some of their weapons openly displayed, they aren't threatening you.
Mm-hmm.
They are insulting you. Because in New Sky negotiations, the polite thing to do is to hide one's weapons so you can stab each other in the back. If you're showing your weapons, you're saying you're not even worthy of me, worrying about you.
New Sky culture is great.
That said, despite this, this massive ship is honestly pretty beautiful. It is very precisely and flourishly grown coral, wrapping around itself, spiraling in different directions, growing bigger and smaller in different modules.
It's gorgeous, and also deeply insulting. Seems they don't take us seriously.
I send them a hail.
Okay.
Greetings. This is the Trinity Envoy team. You've on Thames.
Why are you calling on me?
Extending a greeting.
That's improper. The full table has not arrived yet.
Well, I know that. Is that correct, or are they fucking with us?
It's not incorrect. You're not supposed to start negotiations until everyone involved in negotiations have arrived. You are allowed to talk and communicate with people because that's just a normal thing people do when they're flying by each other in space.
I'm taking account of present delegates.
That I am taken account of, and E hangs up on you.
They are now my favorite.
Well, the joke's on E, because I can tell from their pronouns which one they are.
Oh, you can also narrow it down. Probably those of you who are familiar with... Oh, wait, no, because it's only voice. Never mind. All right. Next up...
We know that force of might and will is a right bastard.
Sure he is. Or sure he is. Next up, the real right bastard shows up.
Amazing.
This ship that flies in under the just under the plant, the gas giant, possibly even through the atmosphere briefly, is called Olympus, and it looks very unique as far as these ships are concerned. It seems to have been formed to look like a sort of twisting sash jewel thing that Lee, you can also roll systems again to figure this out, or you can just say you know it from that super twist.
I'll take the automatic success and then also just roll to see if I get more twists. Yeah. What do either of my +2s apply?
No. This would just be in your general studies of the new Squy.
All right, so that's a success with one twist because I succeeded last time.
All right, so the basic information from the success is this is the new Squy crown, is a new Squy crown of command, or is at least supposed to look like a new Squy crown of command, which is something that which is a sort of combination sash that wraps around a new Squy in several places for formal occasions. When a warlord is leading an army. Why it's meant to look like a crown of command? Probably this person is very, very full of themselves.
Yeah, I would mention. It seems they've styled their ship after the new Squy crown of command. Seems they have a very high opinion of themselves.
Well, I'm sure that's going to be a common thread tonight. If they don't hail first, I will wait a few minutes and then give them a hail.
They don't respond. The ship stays silent.
Well.
And flying past them before they stop, another ship comes in and hails you. Hello! This ship is about the same size as Olympus, but much more normal architecture. Except it seems to have a giant, clear dome over the throne room cockpit area. So, for the first time, you actually get to see one of the new Squy.
Oh my goodness.
Why?
Let me see which one.
Hello there.
This very large new squy. Those of you who know new squy think it's about an adult size. And he says, "Ah, yes. Hello, Trinity's delegates. I am the one called Horuko Gatagatako. It is lovely to make your acquaintance, and I hope it can be further made in the future."
Oh, well, you seem most pleasant. I appreciate your message. I look forward to working with you in the future. Throughout these proceedings.
As do I. Next up, flying in, staying very much on the far side of you from the other small ship, is another normal New Squy personal cruiser. I say small ship, they're still all big ships that are bigger than your ship. But this is a small ship to them.
I don't like being surrounded.
I pat you on the back. You're gonna have to get used to it.
Don't worry. There's a saying, they're more afraid of you than they are of them. That's not true here at all, but they're more likely to kill each other than they are to kill us, is quite applicable.
That is the correct saying, yes.
That last part is comforting.
And yeah.
Do they hail? They don't hail, I assume?
They do, though they
Oh,
do
okay.
take a moment to hail.
Well, when they get around to it.
And from they A actually hail with a visual,
Ooh.
and A
Ah.
are kind of small, and they say, hello, welcome, Trinity delegates. It will be an honor to work with you. I look forward to our introductions in person.
The
It
honor
would
is
be
ours.
impolite otherwise.
We aim to follow all
A
types of politesse.
nods airhead, and then that would be wise. And A hangs up.
Well, it seems like we've got quite the collection. And is that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? There's a seventh, isn't there?
Mm-hmm.
One remains. Alone in the night. We haven't seen them yet, have we?
As you're talking, very much after the third vessel's pilot hangs up, but as you are talking, suddenly, out of literally nowhere, a ship appears directly next to you.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh,
This is the all New Squy ships are unique, and you thought you thought Olympus was the most unique of these ships. It's not. This ship is large, though not incredibly large. It also doesn't look entirely New Squy. I'll let someone roll a scrutiny to figure more out about that.
I will
I'm
definitely be doing
sure.
that.
Positively fascinated by this. I never even read about this.
Also, Ramba, you get some extra dice on this scrutiny.
How many?
2 extra dice. Because you're gonna get some information. Oh yeah, okay.
Oh god.
So,
this is gonna be one of those moments where I'm like, oh no, this is it all over again.
This ship, all of you can tell, this ship is shaped like a New Squy ship should be. It's kind of smaller than you'd expect for a Alone in the Night ship, considering how large Force of Might and Will's ship was. It also is definitely Velp. You recognize Rastian technology in this ship. And you suspect that is exactly why it was able to appear right next to you without you knowing. The rest of you also notice that this ship is humming with different drones just like crawling around its outside.
Well, that's sketchy as fuck.
It also has a lot of other. It is not just Rast influences. You also notice that the thrust side seems to have some Thren efficiency upgrades. You also notice that it isn't quite. The shape doesn't quite make sense. This seems like it was a ship made by someone who's just sort of actually to two of you, to both Velp and Urgats. This seems like a ship that was made out of a person who just took the best of everyone that they ever saw and was like, "That's good technology. I'm gonna put that in my ship. That's good technology. I'm gonna put that in my ship."
It should seem this amalgam has come from a variety of technological traditions and cultures. They seem to have collected it.
You are hailed, and a voice says, "It is good that everyone is finally here." Or sorry,
We
it
concur.
is good that everyone is finally here.
We concur. Pleasure to make your acquaintance. I assume you are alone in the night, the dark, rather.
Alone in the night? Yes, I am. For I am alone, and this is the night.
Eternally.
You will note that looking at the transponders, its ship actually is called the Night. Whether or not that is from the name or the name is from that,
Rather chicken or the egg scenario.
Well, it is good to get your acquaintance.
All right. So now that everyone's here, you guys can choose who you want to talk to. First, there are Urgats. You know there are a few ways to politely deal with New Squai negotiations. Yeah, there is the order of precedence, which is, according to New Squai society in general, which people are more important. This is a very strict order. You have no idea what this order is, though you could probably figure it out. I will allow a systems check, or looking at what's going on, trying to figure out how you would figure it out, or just trying to figure it out in general to figure it out. This is considered incredibly polite if you get it right. It is also incredibly offensive if you start doing it in precedence order and you get anyone wrong. Another way is the order of arrival. This is sort of letting whoever you are talking to dictate the order, as the assumption being whoever showed up earliest is the one who wants most to have the conversation, and whoever showed up latest is the one who wants least to. This is the easiest for you guys because you guys saw the order they came in. You guys know the order they came in, at least in terms of which ships came in. Finally, there is the one with the most leeway to you, which is by age. You can go from oldest to youngest, which gives you some leeway because New Squai are generally born in broods. So inside broods, you can sort of go there is no one gets offended if you go in any different order inside broods, because it's expected that you don't admit which in the brood is older and which in the brood was birthed earlier or later or whatever.
Really depends on who ate out first.
Could I assist in that system check if Sun decides to do that?
Yeah, I would lean and say, what do you think of this situation, Snoodle? It should seem as if though we're going to have to figure out the precedents before we proceed. And what's your system's skill, Snoodle?
I've got some ideas of how things go with Newswise, but let's just say they never really hanged out in where I used to work at.
Ooh,
But I do believe is if we need to make a very good first impression with them when we really start with this meeting here.
I would
indeed.
just like to point out in the dossier for this mission that we are not sure that they are all actually broodmates, if that sways anything in the decision here.
That's a good point.
Well, from the ship's sizes and from your dossier, you suspect there are at least 2 or 3 separate broods here, if not more. Considering there's the little teeny tiny ones, the slightly bigger ones, and then the really weird one and the really big one.
So basically, yeah. So my questions are: one, if Snoodle doesn't have any system skill, is there?
I have it. I have one.
Oh, okay, so I guess
I have 2.
So I'll get one from Snoodle assisting me, and how much from? Am I getting my sociology, my red tape, both or neither?
You'll get your 4. You're trying to figure out the precedence,
Correct.
the order of precedence. You will get your sociology for this.
All right, so I'll get help from my teammates. I think the biggest number is a 2.
Yep.
All right, so that means modifier 4 overall. So I'm like, yes, I point to the holotable and I'm like, well, let's consider the traditions surrounding importance and the strictness of the order. And all
You
right,
might want to read that.
well, do I need to, or well, I mean, I have succeeded. Do I feel like there's like
You
more
could
to
probably
know?
get like 1 tier, I would think, from that. I don't want to speak over
You are going to get, from your 1 success,
Mhm.
you are going to get a list that is mostly correct, but there are going to be some ties on that list.
Okay, I'm pushing it then. I'm like, well, you see, perhaps. All right.
All right. So that's 3 successes. Yeah, you know the order of precedence. In general, the easiest way to tell order of precedence in space is where they show up.
Mm-hmm.
So the reason why 1 success would get you it is that's what you remember. You're like, where they show up, that's important. This Alone in the Night is stopped right next to us, so it is clearly the most important.
Mm-hmm.
Force of Might and Will is a little further away, but still closer than everyone else. Then you know this Dreamscape, or sorry, Paradise and the third vessel are roughly the same distance, I believe, right? Yeah. Are roughly the same distance. And after that, after those 2, beginning through Understanding is the next closest, and then the last 2 older ones are furthest away. So that's what you would have gotten with your 1 success. After your push, you think about it more, and you think, well, given how they treated one another, and Horoko is older and is probably more important than the person in the third vessel. And for the last 2, you suspect that because Olympus made such a big show of arriving,
Mm-hmm.
they're probably not as important as they want to be, seem to be.
Yeah, so they're trying to project.
Yeah, they are trying to project importance.
And well, ignoring that. So is it so? Like, I'm assuming that you said the list was strict, but is it possible that they disagree on the proper list?
So, yes and no. So the proper list is fairly strict.
Mm-hmm.
You could go to Olympus before Dreamscape. However, and that probably wouldn't offend anyone but Dreamscape, or a Pale Nightmare in Dreamscape. but it would offend a Pale Nightmare in Dreamscape. It would also make the pilot crap, I'm blanking on what his actual name or what their actual name is. It would also make the death of all who once will be rather pleased. So if that's what you want,
I'm going to propose. Well, I'm not strictly speaking one for subterfuge. I believe that with our assistance here, I have drawn up a proper list of precedents, and if we should keep to this in the order of our appearances, we will do the best job at ingratiating ourselves to these assembled dignitaries.
I would agree, and I would say that separating ourselves from this list should not be done once we start, particularly on account of there are quite a few members of the group who believe in protocol.
Indeed. I would, however, mention that it is the case that the Olympus is the one shaped like the Crown of Command, right?
yes.
Olympus there seems to be piloted by a newsguy who believes themselves
Death of all
to be,
who once will be.
yes, higher than the rest, or higher than their station would strictly just dictate. But it's possible they will be offended that we don't pick them over their companion. But I think that if we stick to the protocols, everybody else will be well enough pleased. And I feel that it is important to make a strong first impression and not show ignorance, which they might suspect they could exploit.
I agree. I mean, the big thing is, looking at this is a precedence that they set themselves up with in terms of their society. So
Yeah, I was going to say they didn't set themselves up with it. The society sort of does. It's
the societal expectation. So if we follow through with this and Olympus doesn't like it, it's mostly with his society, not us.
Yeah.
Their society.
Also, death of the Olympus ship's pilot, who will probably go by another name, is a known slaver, and while they might want our presence beforehand, they might want us to slight their associate.
Yes, well, I have no intention of facilitating
I don't believe
their
we should
desires.
show us to be in a position.
So
More
you're
importantly,
going into the night
They've
first.
tried to project strength, and they fail.
Yeah, I
think
think we go to the night, unless anybody has any objections.
I have no objections. More importantly, we just need to get a majority to agree.
This is true. So, as you enter the night, oops. The ship is the ship itself is very weird on the inside too. There is no water in it, or at least not a significant enough amount of water in it. And as you walk through, or as you walk in, immediately you come to a intersection with an arrow on the wall, pointing in a direction.
Does it look like it's always there, or specifically there for us today?
It looks like it's actually, any of you can roll a scrutiny.
Okay.
And to clarify, is this like a glowing, like lit up LED
It
screen
is
here,
glowing.
or is it like a carved? Okay.
Yeah, so this is clearly a digital arrow. And Urgats, from your study, that the arrow is digital. It appears to be on a line that's embedded in the wall. You could swear that you've seen that line, that material of that line before in your studies. Not in any of your New Squy courses, but in your when you were going and doing archaeology courses.
I dare
I
say,
suspect it's mind glass.
Oh,
I
jeez.
believe that could be Wycosi Mind Glass being used as a pointing arrow. This is quite the display of, well,
Do you guys follow the arrow?
I'm following the arrow.
All
I
right.
think so.
The arrows disappear shortly after you pass them, or after all of you pass them, and another one reappears at every intersection. And this is a maze. This place is a maze. You can try to try to roll a scrutiny or a systems to figure out this maze, but this place is very hard, even to those of you who are trained and like know your way around and know your sense of direction. The directions don't seem right. Some of you are like, oh, I'm definitely gonna this turn here is gonna take me outside, and it doesn't.
I would very much like to make that roll.
I'll assist.
All right. So you are still confused. This maze does not make sense. That said, you're fairly confident that if you have to escape, you can follow this maze.
Okay.
As are you, Ergats. You have mapped. Whereas Vosh, you know the direction. Like you remember all of the turns, and you're like, all right, so that turn leads there, and that turn leads there. Vosh or Ergats, you actually have a map of the maze in your head, and you can confirm that this maze, the distances that you walked, definitely don't add up to the size of the ship outside. And eventually, you arrive at a lovely, lovely
Look at all these toys.
yeah, it is filled with drones. There is a new squy sitting there that is very, very large.
Okay, then. Hello there.
Oh my.
Ah, so you've come to me first. I wonder, is it because, or is it out of curiosity? Fear? What?
Precedence.
Truly.
Admittedly,
This might be
curiosity.
interesting.
I'm like trying to hide my excitement, but also fear. So I'm gonna just kind of like, let it. I'm letting everybody else go as I'm like looking around.
So, to briefly describe this new squy, besides besides its size, it has what look like arms off the back of it, or off of its actual what would be its shell, or well, its carapace. However, you can't quite tell what they are because it is also wearing a full body glove.
Gloved up.
It is active. It is or well, actually, I am going to ask a request of you, and this is going to be something that I want you all to say for each of these interactions. In general, I will be assuming that you are trying to stay polite in terms of how you are interacting with these. You can also choose to mind your surroundings and like keep your head on a swivel, or to essentially stare at the new squy and make sure that the new squy isn't trying anything suspicious. Also, staring at the new squy, because of how new squy communicate, can help you maybe like get some more subtleties, as most of their a lot of their communication has to do with the movements of arms and clacking and rubbing. However, it might be considered rude to, stare at someone's arms as you're trying to talk with them.
GM, I want to do a scrutiny test to look around to be able to find things.
All right, so you're going to be keeping your eye around.
Yeah, the idea being like, oh, you're also like this stuff too. Okay.
I want to be as polite as possible about it, but I am here to talk, and if part of the talking is facilitated by gestures, I need to look. And
Okay, so you're
that's my
going to be
job.
watching the movement, maybe not as intensely, but still watching it.
As much as I can without being perceived as rude.
Yeah.
I know it's a fine line to walk.
Vosh or Gats?
I'm going to stay closer to, or skew a little more polite, but head on a swivel.
Okay.
I'm trying to observe all proper protocol, although obviously I'm not a news guy myself.
Good to know. Pat, because you are you aren't you aren't staring, but you are paying a lot of attention to the legs. I want you to roll me a quick scrutiny.
Okay.
And also,
Let me drop. Sorry.
Velp, if you would roll a scrutiny as well.
All right.
Okay, you got one
I'm gonna-
success. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
This new
Oh,
guy
it rolled
is
twice.
definitely doing stuff other than talking to you right now. You suspect it might have something to do with all the drones moving around. So Velp, you got two successes there.
Yeah, I
So-
edged, so
You notice a couple of things. Number one, those drones you saw scurrying about the outside, you can see them. You can see a couple of them here as well, through past the news when you're looking past the
Hey,
news squad.
Sparrow.
Like this one. Number two, you're keeping an eye out for danger, and you almost immediately saw the Wraith. But as you look at it, the Wraith is definitely on standby mode. It is not currently being activated. That said, it is still a Wraith, and if it gets activated, it might cause problems. Not much problems, but some problems. Probably not as much problems as the giant new squy, but it could be like a flanking thing. Also, if there's one, you suspect there are more.
leverage is leverage, and he just wants to showcase he's got all these fun toys.
Yeah, I'm taking it. I'm like, this is a marvelous ship. And,
It is enough. It is enough.
Certainly. Seems to have little bits and pieces from everywhere across the galaxy. I've heard a bit about you, but to meet you in the flesh is indeed an honor. I come from the other side of this,
You have not met
of the
me in
Trinity.
flesh.
Are you not presently here?
Do you see my flesh?
I
full
suppose I
body,
haven't
full,
been.
full body glove.
Why are you asking about my ship? We have business to discuss. My life is my own.
Indeed. May I make a communicate to ad hocly try and pass that off as a compliment?
Yes, you
I
can.
would like to assist in that if I can.
I have a +3 to complimenting people to make them happy.
I have I only have
And what's your communicate? I'll roll the extra dice.
2, but if we're lying,
Um,
a bonus.
I don't know. Would you consider so? I
That
don't
was
think that my
great.
character thinks they're lying.
Mhm.
So I don't think that would help my character in this instance.
So
if
what
you wanna-
exactly are you trying to phrase as a compliment about it? The asking about the ship, the asking about where they're from, or
I'm gonna try and combine all of it into one large compliment. You're well traveled, esteemed, and exceedingly knowledgeable.
those all come with
it
age.
is an honor to be in your presence.
Those all come
Indeed.
with age.
You've
In
grown
any
old
case,
and powerful in your time. And anyway,
you
we're
are
here to
here.
discuss business.
You are here because you want this this system. The reasons I know and are unimportant. If you want it, I am more than happy to give it to you. It can be yours. All I ask is a favor of a sort. Or, well, more than one. Not now, but when that which is hot, or when that which is cold becomes hot, I will make a request of each of your polities. Or assuming you agree, you wish me to agree, when that which is cold becomes hot, I will make a request of each of your polities. And those polities will do it, whatever it may be, however trivial or large. And they will do it with haste, no matter how strange, no matter what it might mean. That is all I ask. Well, that, and of course, I hear rumor that the custom for frivolous purchases would be luxury credits in the Trinity. So, one luxury credit, or one luxury coupon as well.
Amazing.
To make it official.
He wants us to slide him a tenner and also promise that all three of our nations will do whatever they ask on a dime, just to make it official, slide the tenner.
You, any of you who have interacted with New Squai can roll me an insight or a systems with a +1. Anyone else can roll an insight or a systems flat.
Would red tape or sociology help?
Red tape will help you, but you haven't actually interacted with New Squai, so you don't get the +1.
All right, so I just get the 2.
Would tell the lie apply? Basically saying about if there's some sort of deception going on.
Okay, no, because there is no deception going on.
Okay, cool. I'll just roll +1.
Alrighty. So, first off, everyone goes up an edge because a couple of you, both Urgats and Thames, are still kind of unsettled by this thing. This very large person who seems to be very much not acting like you expect them to, or it to be acting. But what you guys know, let's see, which of you roll systems? Just Urgats? Urgats. You, in your studies of the red tape, understand that in terms of negotiating with the Frontier and the Rast, no matter what else, the new Squai tend to ask for, or to involve money, because that is what is expected of Rast, because Rast and people of the Frontier have that, and that's what they generally will want to do for things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that is probably why they said, or it said that to make it official, a luxury coupon.
Mm-hmm.
Those of you that rolled insight, it is telling the truth. It is not going to be asking for anything more down the line or anything like that. You suspect it is also probably not going to budge much off of that, both from its age and from its general demeanor. Vosh, you can tell something else. It's probably not going to use all three of it. You suspect, while it is probably not going to use all three of its requests if it uses any of them. You almost suspect that it may prefer having them as a promise than to having them, than to actually using them. Like,
Sure.
Having them indebted.
Having them in the bank is more valuable to them than using them.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Are we able to speak freely without them hearing with like helmets on or
assume we
anything?
have our
or
comms.
comms?
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming you would still see our faces move, though.
Yeah.
Trinity standard suits have shaded visors.
You can use comms. Also, you can just you can just basically say, "I'll take that under advisement, and I'll get back to you," and leave. It does add on. If you agree to to include my terms now, I might help you with my family. Otherwise, I am more than happy to wait.
Of course, of course. Would you permit us to discuss the matter amongst ourselves? Briefly, in your presence.
Certainly.
It is-
Everyone roll a quick insight on that one.
Ooh.
Yeah, y'all are freaking out a little bit, because you all can tell as you're thinking about it how he said that. Certainly, how those arrows moved just as soon as you passed them on the rest of the ship. How these drones are moving. You suspect that he's probably listening, or that it is probably listening to your comms and watching you actively, and has cameras everywhere in this ship, and knows everything that you've done and everything you've even thought, because it has that sort of feeling to its voice as it speaks.
I am going to lean in and whisper to Yibwe, like I have no idea that might be the case. I believe this is a generous offer from them.
I concur. I feel we should make some ethical stipulations if we can, i.e., no slave trafficking, etc., etc.
Yes, I think it needs to be clear that while the laws may be bent, ultimately the promise isn't
There are
going
some
to
moral
be.
standings that we can't.
The promise isn't going to be honored if it compels a sworn servant of the Trinity to violate their oaths. They are
Excellent
trained
point.
to not They're trained to not accept any legal order. So even if we were to make such a promise, that couldn't be kept. But as for bending the law, that can probably be gotten around.
I agree.
And given
I
their
think this is an extremely generous offer that we should consider, though.
Yeah, and they are of the greatest precedence, and they do seem wise and capable of assisting us greatly, so it's probably for the best that we gain what insights they are willing to offer on their family.
Couldn't agree more.
Which means we'll need to agree before returning to our vessel, based on what they said earlier.
That's fine. I can bring up a list of hard no's on my slate. As I say that, I'm beginning to type things out. First off, no, we will not sell people into slavery. Blah, blah, blah. Very basic, very, very, very minimalist ethical rules that I'm sure our business partner would already be in agreement with. Maybe is that a systems to write this all down in a way that's amenable?
Yeah, you can go ahead and roll a systems.
I would prefer a communicate, but I think this is probably more in the ballpark of systems.
So have you finished conferring?
Yeah, I does that entropy symbol signal anything immediate, or can I continue?
Nothing immediate.
Very well.
This is just a very stressful situation, and you're probably not going to get a good night's sleep if you end up or after this whole thing is done.
Yeah, that's fair. I look around my group, then I look back at the Newsguy condom, and I say, yes, we have conferred, and we find your terms to be amenable. If it is acceptable to you, we would stipulate that there are certain things that we cannot ask of our polities on a basis of strict moral rationale. However, we've agreed that bending laws and existing policies permitting you to do almost anything would be fine with these requests.
Of course, so long as you write down specifically all of the things that is not permitted. So there can be no room for
I'm looking at my small
misinterpretation.
list and I'm thinking maybe I should give it to the sociologist for a second.
Yeah, I mean, like, anything that we swear an oath against, anything that gets, like nuclear proliferation and slavery and stuff like that is how home ships get banned from the Trinity. So, like, anything that, like, got Hagomi banned from Trinity space, not allowed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, nuclear proliferation. I think everybody's got nukes more or less.
Well, I mean, you can't roll up to a Trinity planet and be like, "Want to buy some warheads, children?" The Trinity actually doesn't smile on that. I'm not saying it's never happened.
I will say, if
you said proliferation,
by the
way,
I forgot. I should probably show you guys Alone in the Night's wonderful background, so you don't need to look back. I will say, if you recall its character bio that you've gotten, you highly suspect rolling up to a Trinity planet and saying anything is not going to be something that it's going to do.
Yes, but it did ask for a very specific list, and we are preparing a very specific list. My very brief moral qualms is being lawyered up, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, we create an extensive list.
Doesn't need to be extensive. It just needs to be a list of like negative freedoms. Basically state. Perhaps we could just like use something from Trinity itself. Like, here's what you would be expected, and if you follow these, we can guarantee what your boon is.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we do a bare bones list of, Trinity fundamental beliefs.
As you are doing this and talking about it, Alone sort of shakes one of its heads at you and says, "It is not necessary to do that now. I trust you."
Well, that is
is there anything? What do you wish to know?
Honor.
Just general knowledge about my family, other things.
So all of them get to be equally important in this vote, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I would say general knowledge, but in the vein of your family members who you feel will be most resistant to this deal and try and extract the highest price. Anything that we might know about them that might help us ease the way.
What do you mean by highest price?
In terms of either the extremeness of their request against our customs in the Trinity, or the logistical difficulty of bringing what they ask to bear. Ultimately, if it's money they want, that can be arranged.
Well, as far as things that you might, as moral objections seems to be your strong suit. As far as things that you might morally object to, Haruko is a deviant. As their name suggests, Z is a lover, but not of the emotional kind. Z is there is a reason though why Z is respected in the family. Z is not nearly as nice or honorable as Z might, or friendly as Z might seem. Now then, this is not by Z's own necessarily will, but it is who Z is on the inside. Z hides that and embraces the lover, but Do not trust it. It is a facade. You will also object to Zeus in general, though I suspect Zeus's actual request, I believe that death of all who once will be going by Zeus for this negotiation, specifically to annoy your Thren delegates.
Understood.
And they are a child. They will throw they will throw temper tantrums. They are currently doing so. They believe their place in the society wrong. They will get over it in a century. That said, again, I suspect that it is more going to be the person and them specifically trying to aggravate you that you will object to than necessarily what they ask for.
That's good to know. I was worried about that one.
I have a question. How many murders normally happen in a newsguy negotiation? Like, on average?
0 to 100% of the people generally die.
All right, so if we wind up in a scuffle with one of these
Chuckles,
people,
we're in danger.
if we get in a scuffle with one of these people, especially someone lower on the totem pole, are we going to be able to walk away from that?
Are you asking James the DM or
I think I'm
Alone in the Night?
I think Sancta is querying his own knowledge before he says something that might offend or
Okay. All of you against one of the lower on the like one of the younger ones, you would almost definitely succeed. You would beat them.
But what would the ramifications be afterward?
Yeah, I think we're talking about
that would sort of depend on how all of these people feel about one another. If you kill one that is liked or respected, might cause problems. If you kill one that is not liked and not respected, it would probably cause less problems.
Good to know. All right, I'll keep that one in the brain cage.
I would be interested in knowing, I nudge you. If you get the chance, ask who amongst the family is most and least liked. Might be useful.
Yeah, I would absolutely say, could you tell me which of your siblings is least liked and respected, perhaps even below their station?
They are all liked and respected as their station dictates. You can roll me an insight there to see if he's telling you everything or
I will
not.
assist.
Yeah,
With a 3 insight.
Maybe we might help along these negotiations, Snoodle. All right, so that's my insight on that one.
Okay.
Cool.
He is. You get the feeling that he is A, completely telling the truth, and B, avoiding this question because he is curious about whether you legitimately know their precedents or just claim to and went to the one that was the oldest / the closest / the weirdest looking.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Honestly, I'm going to go on a big diversion where I say, yes, well, of course, according to their precedents, that's also our flight log. And I will just, rattle off the order we intend to visit these ships in, based on my best reckoning that we had back in the ship.
Okay.
Do I sense that this has set anything off in terms of, wrongness, or...
Yeah, I make an insight as well.
I will assist whomever I can with the 3 in insight.
1 second.
I have a 3 in insight too, so.
Yeah, we can insight the fuck out of these people. I mean, you could probably make the insight roll yourself.
Jesus.
That's also a good
we
one.
don't need to.
All right.
Yes.
Yeah. You.
Jesus.
Wow. You really. Yeah. You succeed in being able to tell. First off, Urgats, yeah, you're pretty sure that you're right.
Hmm.
Vosh, why Zeus would be specifically annoying to the Thren is because that's a name that Thren can't actually pronounce easily.
Gotcha. Thank you.
You get the feeling that he probably thinks you're right. Thames, it is not he. It is definitely, I wouldn't say surprised, but you are almost certain that A, Ergotz is right, and B, Alone in the Night didn't know that Ergotz was right. But C, Alone in the Night also kind of it does not look as impressed as you might think if it didn't suspect that Ergotz might have been right. So it was more of that's a coin flip. Oh, it worked.
Operating within parameters.
And there's no chance, and yes, they're right. Wow.
Can I put one of those twists onto maybe like an auto success next time I try to insight a news buy or something?
Yes, that is certainly something that you can do.
Cool. Well, yeah, that certainly helps.
Well, that is certainly in order. So, any other questions about my family?
I look around. Does anybody have like a strong feeling?
Are there any issues of politeness that we should know about that we might have not been briefed on when dealing with some of the more honor-prone members of your family?
Other than the fact that I suspect both Zeus and Force can have low opinions of your negotiating position. Or, well, your negotiation in general. No.
One last question from me. Do any of your siblings have any use of this place? Are any of them interested in maintaining it and simply not putting their cards on the table?
Yes and no. A pale nightmare flies through this place quite frequently. However, I suspect they would be perfectly happy with the Trinity taking over so long as they were still allowed to fly their cargo through this place.
That is good to know. And yes, the Trinity will make safe ports here. I'm sure we can arrange something for those ports to accommodate. No one else has any claims to the region other than inheritance?
We all live on our ships. Territory
is wise.
Territory is prestige and honor and duty, but we tend not to use it.
Excellent. Does anybody else on my team have any further questions?
If one does do a social misstep, what are some common ways to make up for that in your society?
There aren't any. Social missteps will always be remembered.
On your tippy toes.
Oh, that reminds me. As far as social missteps, be very careful about food, accepting and rejecting food. I am sure you're expert. It gestures towards Urgatz. Remembers that there are specific ways of rejection that are very rude.
Do I remember that?
Yeah, yes, that is. It is common knowledge that if you are offered something, you have to phrase your saying no. You have to either accept it or phrase saying no in a very polite manner.
I nod. Of course.
Greatly appreciated.
Giving 101 in university.
Well, we will write up our list of moral objections to actions that you can call for. And
Of course.
once that is
so long as
settled,
it's specific. So there is no room for
we will write down
shenanigans, I believe is the word.
we will write down a very specific list. I once watched an old human movie that was based off of a TV series that was based off of another TV series, in which a species showed up on the planet Earth demanding children, just children, under the premise that they were going to inhale their pheromones or something like that. We will make sure very specifically to write that on our list.
A strange objection, but certainly that sounds reasonable. The arrows will show you out if you have no further questions.
Yeah.
If you would like it, I can send a friend of mine along with you in order to facilitate more private communications.
We would be amenable to that, and highly appreciative.
All right. The little quadcopter, which was behind it and possibly doing minor maintenance on its chair, possibly just chilling, flies with you, or goes and follows you. The arrows will show you out.
Thank you.
And yeah, as you walk out, once again, you get the feeling, oof, this place is wrong.
I'll
Yeah.
definitely be checking the arrow route back with the way that we came, and if it is indeed the reverse, or
Roll me a scrutiny. All right. You're also gonna not be completely happy if once you're resting thinking about this. It's not the reverse. It almost feels like it's the exact same pattern, like it's mirrored the way back.
gotcha.
Like maybe this place folds in on itself.
That is very unsettling.
Ooh, you tell me that? Wait, actually, I don't think this character would understand the implication there.
I think actually what I do is I've got like a note up on my slate, right? But it's like a totally slate private note. And I write in big scrawled letters, make sure it doesn't hack us. And I show it just to you. And then I delete the note. I don't know if you want me to do a maneuver for that, James.
Are you doing this when you're back on your ship or on when you're on the night?
Well, like as soon as we're on the tether, I start writing.
Okay.
Make sure that
you don't need to
Quadcore
do a
doesn't
maneuver
hack
on the
us.
tether.
Okay.
So what do you do to make sure it's not going to be hacking you?
I mean, I think as soon as we get back, we're gonna close all the USB ports. But
Okay. Are you gonna like try to do a
otherwise,
systems check on your own console, stuff like that?
That's probably the smart way about this. Yeah, and I'll assist with my 2 in systems.
Vosh is just gonna keep a careful eye on it. I mean,
It hovers
Yeah.
in the corner. You note that it is not on standby. It is just hovering there. Like it's not off. It's literally just sort of moving around.
Okay. So I nudge my associate to wait, what was your character's name again?
Sancta.
Sancta. Okay, yeah, I was at the tip of my tongue. Yeah, I nudge you to try and ensure our systems are secured.
Roll me as systems.
Wait, hold on. I'm like, wait, oh, I'm the best systems person. That's funny. I'm like, well, I took computer science 101, and I do a doop, 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 and I try and make sure.
Oh my goodness.
Excellent.
Yeah, so first thing, you're now confident that your system is no one's going to steal any data from your system anymore.
Anymore.
Second thing, you instantly, as you're in here, notice, oh crap, there's been siphoning off of our system, like the top level of our system, this entire time.
Amazing.
I would
Well,
mention, it should seem we've already had visitors
I will note,
for brunch.
you don't think it's from the quadcopter, considering that it started happening before you left your ship?
Mm-hmm.
And you also notice it has several different digital footprints, like maybe a lot of people went and tried to find your personnel records.
Mm. Well, to be fair, we have documents on them. They want documents on us.
Yeah, information's ammunition, right?
I mean, you did just speak to Alone in the Night, and another of the new squad here is their literal name is beginning through understanding, or their literal ship's name is beginning through understanding. So yeah.
They're probably also curious about the fact as we went with night first and not like the first person that arrived, too.
Yeah. I'm going to look
all right,
around.
so I think Fate probably closest next, right?
Yeah, next person on the proper list that we have worked out here is gonna get hit up.
Alrighty. So you're going to the Fall of Fate, where you suspect from its size and also general existence that Force of Might and Will resides.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So,
Force of Might and Will.
as you are you enter, this ship is sort of different. Or, well, it's certainly different from the last one. It is very large, not nearly the cramped hallways of the last one. It also... Oops, did not work. It also is very straightforward in terms of what it's looking like. And it's also filled with water.
Splish splash, we were taking a bath.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, right. Now I'm in my natural environment.
And as you're swimming down this very large, ornate hallway, you do notice that on the walls, there are, lots of animal heads of things that you have never seen before. Like, think Hunting Lodge, only with weird, monstrous-looking creatures.
So the Skull, Trophy Room, and Predator 2.
You can,
Oh, wow.
if you want to ID them, it's going to be real hard to, because you have no idea what these are from very far away, but you can try with systems, or well, actually with a medical check.
Oh, right.
Otherwise, you can do a
analysis?
scrutiny to try to sort of see, hey, is this related to anything I might have interacted with?
I figured I might try because I'm a galactic traveler.
All right, Velp, you do notice that one of them, you actually recognize one of them. Sort of. One of them appears to be something from old Rast legend called a dragon eater. Just chilling on the wall.
Oh shit.
These are the giant things that eats the Avena. So,
Yeah, I'm gonna relay that to the rest.
Oh
This-
my, that sounds like quite the beast.
yeah, it is massive.
Oh.
It is like larger
I
than
have-
all of you.
It seems they fancy the hunt.
I've heard they're a sentient species.
Mm-hmm. So, and finally, at the end, you go through a massive set of doors,
Oh,
which shut behind you. The water all drains out of the room, and then doors in front of you enter, and you walk into a room that is rather nice. The one thing I will note that isn't on this map that is in the room, the entirety of these walls is like racks of weapons. Just various weapons from various places and various periods of time. Some of them look used, others don't.
well. Greetings, esteemed one.
Yes, the Trinity. Yes, the Trinity. Welcome. You are here as guests, of course, for this negotiation, so you shall be treated as guests. Please have some food.
What is offered?
E gestures towards what is already a meal that is on this table that already seems to be prepared. It looks like some sort of sea creature.
Does it look poisonous?
You can roll me a medicine check if you want to see if it's poisonous, or you can roll me a scientific check or a scrutiny or a medicine to see if you can tell what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I assume, Urgats, you're looking to see if it's poisonous?
Yeah.
It is not poisonous. You can use one of those twists to figure out what it is if you want.
I also want to note, like, I'll come and inspect it. I both want to verify it isn't poisonous, but also that it hasn't been, like, secondarily poisoned. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah, that is both of your twists. Vash, you
Yes.
know what it is. You recognize it. You probably wouldn't have recognized it as quickly, but you also see in the background. This is Hydra meat. It is not poisoned. It is not poisonous. It probably doesn't taste the best, but
I don't have I
The things that I
can't
do
think
for
of a
the
polite way to deny it, so I'm gonna fix myself a plate of Hydra.
I would pull a bottle out from my satchel. It's an old bottle of Hjob from. It says it's vintage 100 years ago, and it's from one of the early colonies of Mrod. It's not actually as expensive as it looks, but it is quality and notable present.
okay. And you're offering
And I would
it to
place that on the table.
E,
As
or
an
to
offer.
M. All right.
Mhm.
E approaches the table and says, "Of course, guests giving gifts is unnecessary, but always appreciated."
Food for food.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull up and
I also explained the cultural significance of it.
Yes.
And I'd like to,
Cultural
if I could, in doing so, frame it as I would like to use loaded words like trophy quite frequently in doing so. Earned. It's from a rough and tumble barren world
So you
that was settled
understand.
by force, etc., etc.
You understand that in order to properly, or a proper gift has to be won, not simply given. This is an important aspect of being. question, as far as you guys are concerned with this one, or with force of might and will, how are you? Are you trying to be polite? Are you keeping your head on swivel? Are you watching him? Or sorry,
same
watching
answer as-
M.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep
Same as before.
my head is on a swivel, and I want to be appear to be marveling at the wonders of the architecture and the weapons. But
Okay.
also, I suspect that they are trying to get us to look at the food, do not look somewhere else, even as I eat. And I'm like, delicious.
Yeah, I'm definitely on guard here. This person has a martial stand point of view. It might be rude not to assume that there could be conflict at any turn. So I'm mostly looking at M, but I am also looking around the room
Good
more
to
than I
know.
was previously.
Well,
And I am also fully eating this food in as politely a manner as I can.
Okay.
Are there any very ornate or powerful looking swords on the wall?
Roll me a scrutiny.
A screw in the boot.
Scrooty that booty.
Ooh.
I really quickly look up a name because I am blanking on it.
This is the relic one, right?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh shit.
A star splitter.
That's what it's called. Yeah. So yeah, you see actually not one, but hanging over what looks like a vid screen back in the back here. Why you needed to roll a scrutiny to find it. There are a pair of New Sky star splitters crossed.
That's
Yeah, we'll look up and while eating, after swallowing and not talking with a mouthful of food. One star splitter would be an impressive trophy, but two.
They were both earned, as
this
all
I have no
things should
doubt.
be.
All
Of
things.
that I have no doubt.
Guys, this guy is driving. I have we noticed any have we seen what's in the next room?
a hydra.
Yeah, have we seen that though?
Yes. Oh, yeah, that is how one of you identified the Hydra meat. Was you're like, that looks suspiciously like that meat.
Indeed.
I have copy pasted the New Squire Star Splitter entry into the Descent of Rainfall of Yestereve.
You seem to have earned quite a bit. We noticed a dragon eater in the halls, among many other species we couldn't quite put a name to.
My name is more than simple name. It is a statement of being. One exists only when one has control over every aspect of themselves. And when one has control over every aspect of oneself, everything can be done. Anything can be overcome.
Bosch nods in agreement, like only somebody who tries to live by that ethos could.
Indeed. Yeah, I think I finish up the portion on my plate. It's probably a bit much for my stomach, but I try to be accommodating, eat as much as I can. Is there any? Do I know of any?
It's actually
of...
you do know it's not a bit much for your stomach. It's actually rather small.
Oh, good.
Almost as
Very
though you're probably going to be eating a lot of these little plates.
Okay.
It's tapas. It's diplomatic tapas.
Gotcha. Diplomatic tapas. All right.
Diplomatic topping us off.
Ooh.
Oof. Yeah. Thank you. The meal was exquisitely prepared. I say, not having a point of reference.
No, it was not. It was not meant to be. In any case,
the fact that you prepared anything for us is quite exquisite.
that is a necessity of this interaction. Or sorry, that is a necessity of being polite in this interaction.
Very
In any
well.
case, I am sure you're here to talk business, not food.
Indeed.
I would be ill prepared to talk food.
So, I look around at the diplomats and I say, you know why we're here, and we presume that you are interested in what the Trinity has to offer you.
What is it that we can offer you
Mm.
that would make you say yes?
No, I do not care. One system is a system. You wished for this system. I cannot say, I do not have any reason to say no, save one. If you take this system from the family, then the family has one fewer system. And you see the dilemma. So, if you were to, in exchange, gift a system to the family, any system would do. And perhaps, and of course, to be polite, say 10 million Raidu. That would be more than enough.
And so they want the 10 million themselves, and but the family will receive the system.
Yes, he wants 10 million for himself, and wants a system for the family, so that the family does not lose face.
I see what E's driving at here. Fascinating.
And as you mull that over, let's move on to our 10-minute break. It's now 10:20. It's about halfway done.
Oh, great.
All right.
You have met with 2 people. This is going better than I thought it would.
Yeah.
Amazing.
We'll be back then at 10:31 p.m. Eastern.
Indeed.
Alrighty.
Sounds fun.
I see no need to leave. I'm just gonna vibe here.
Vibing. How's it going in chat, everyone? I know I haven't been too terribly talkative. The chat.
It's been a bit of chatter here and there.
Oh, I forgot. You gotta remind me when you guys enter the throne rooms. I need to show you guys their
bio.
Their bios so that you don't need to look back and forth.
Loading. Force of Might and Will is loading right.
Yeah, you also, he's a big boy, but not as big as Alone in the Night.
And name means roughly force of might and will, and from what we know, it describes M to a T. He is known where amongst the news guy and said to hold honor that he believes comes down one of the first news guys to take the stars. Also, what we can piece together, we mostly don't know about M because he doesn't care about us and sticks to dealing with news guy.
Hope everyone's ready to move on from the one kind of normal request to the rest of the insanely weird ones.
Someone requested 1969 Dodge Charger. We're gonna be like, okay, that's a bit impossible. And
We have the technology.
Amazing. Oh my god, I found more Shunga from the Russian War. Oh my god, 1905 Japanese smut is honestly my favorite thing ever. They're all just fucking the Russians. It's amazing.
How does this not surprise me, Pat?
Okay, James, permission to send vintage smut to you in DMs.
Sure, no promise.
It's from
Let me-
Wikipedia.
Let me try to find.
I don't know the last time I messaged you privately on Facebook. God damn it. Why is it not loading? It's being an asshole to me. A Japanese guy having sex with a Russian woman while a Russian officer was screaming at said person. I have now found one that is even better than that. It is not cuckoldry, sadly, but it is ... something. It's loading. It's halfway loaded. There you go.
That is definitely something, and I understand the ... dots.
Yeah. God. Yeah, and then the cuckoldry one's even funnier. I don't know if you want me to send that to you. I was just sending this one because I was reacting to it real time. But I found so much of it lately. I don't even know why. I mean, I do know why. It's because I'm looking at Shunga from, for reasons.
Yeah,
But,
when you Google something, you do tend to find a lot of it.
Exactly. It looks like they're enjoying themselves. Really does show that like the Japanese did not have fucking qualms with homosexuality back in the days like the Westerners did. Oh god, beautiful. Love to see it. Actually, what I was looking for was believe it or not, ukiyo-e era hands. I want to see how they drew hands back in the pre-1920s.
I mean, it's really difficult to do hands and drawings, isn't it?
It is, but I'm trying to style match to some degree the ukiyo-e style for a piece that I'm working on. It's a silly personal piece, but
The fun places art reference lead you to.
exactly. And it turns out they go pretty hard on the detail of hands. I suppose I ought to have expected such, but yeah.
Also, I gotta say, I really do like the notes that you've been putting in the document.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. I love whoever's writing down those notes. It's like, great.
That's me.
Yeah, either be like, yeah, this guy's a turbo jerk. This was like, yeah. If they do a surface scan of our stuff and they find these notes, this is going to hurt the negotiations, but it's great.
Yeah.
Don't be so sure that it's going to hurt the negotiations, I will say.
I mean, maybe they'll
Sorry.
be like, whoa, I'm a turbo jerk? That's great.
I mean, that is also probably not how it would go down. I'm just saying, there's a level of... Well, when you are as old as, like, to put it in context, the youngest of these wonderful people you're interacting with is around 136 years old. When you're that old, you have a certain level of self-awareness.
Mm.
Well, we hope so.
Yeah, but what constitutes self-awareness for any given news guy is entirely up to that given news guy.
Which is true.
Turbo jerk is an ancient Thren compliment.
Yes, it refers to one's queen. And also the police state, or the policing operatives of the state.
I got myself some Hydra bites. On the
And then maybe also like a reference to an old Earth way to cook chicken.
Indeed. It's jerk chicken in a turbo oven. It's a thing. We promise.
It's like turbo jerk with a registered copyright. Because there was a special way to do it back in the day.
Turbo jerk chicken TM.
Exactly. But they don't spell it as chicken, so you know that they're legally required not to say it's actually chicken.
All right, it is now 10:32, so even though Lee isn't back yet, because let us jump right back in. So, Force of Might and Will has just told you what they want, which is a bundle of cash and a system for the family.
So, question to you, which I'm sure is going to be you can do that. But based on our document, it does say that we can give over a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah,
system.
We have
you have been sent here. You are allowed to give just about any promises and any amount of money within reason. The issue comes in because you are essentially, the Trinity has given you, all right, you are in charge of this diplomacy. Do it. Make it done. They will probably have opinions if you make certain promises or if you go way too much money. But you also know, like, 10 million is not that much. 10 million Raidu is like a nice medium-sized ship.
Especially for a system with a lot of mining on it. So we could give them something where it's like, and they don't care about the territory, so we could give them just the worst territory we got.
Well, it depends, because I have a feeling with Er's disposition, they probably want something that would be like, we can work with this and earn it. Probably be along lines of, like, we give them a paradise world, they would not be happy with that because, like, it's given, it's not earned.
Well,
I will let you guys all roll an insight if you want more details onto exactly,
Yeah,
or a system, insight or a system here.
all
I
right.
think now's a good time to learn more about people.
Are either of my pluses going to help? Also, we should be back from the 10-minute break.
Yes, you should.
Based on the time, I'll remove that.
Let's see. So your pluses are sociology. The sociology will help.
Alright.
It's less about red tape and more about the sociology of the matter.
Okay. That's a success with one twist.
Okay, so those of you rolling insight, you both did very, very well. Actually, you both got no, yeah, 2 successes, 3 successes. E seems to be very honest when he says that what the system is doesn't actually matter that much. Urgats, you get the feeling that this is less to do with wanting a system and more to do with not wanting to lose face in the general scheme of the spinward world. And so having -1 system means that you are -1 X importance. Whereas if it's just equal number of systems, it's about equal importance.
What in terms of like?
So you suspect that probably whether it is a star without a planet, a star with many planets, a star with paradise worlds, a star with dead worlds, it would not matter. Probably.
What if we offered them? Here's a question: is there anything that's like roughly equivalent to the value of a system? Or is it just like the intangible of like prestige from territory? It doesn't directly translate into anything else.
With your twist, I'm going to say you get the feeling that it is about territory. There is nothing that is of equal value to territory.
Do we have any frontier systems that are without planets that we could, or like without any usable planets, or like, you know, maybe one super Earth that's like
there are a
too
lot of
close to the
systems that
sun?
don't have planets or have like 2 gas giants that don't even have moons and stuff like that.
Also, something that isn't very tactically relevant to the
Of
Trinity
course.
Navy.
Yeah, I have a.
you know.
I mean, so
Yeah.
here's the real question: are we empowered to give away territory?
Yes.
You are empowered to do anything. If you give away
Here's-
territory that the Trinity doesn't want you to give away, they would probably be like, all right, you guys get the diplomacy missions of only ever communicating with this one hive and nowhere else, period. Your job is just to directly send, you're basically now messengers between the Trinity and this hive.
Right. Here's a proposal. We offer them the title of a system with the caveat that the Trinity may operate with impunity within said system thereafter. However, the title goes to them.
I think that is excellent and clearly why you were sent on this mission.
Yeah,
But
like
we have a
perpetuity.
diplomatic position there, complete with an embassy and mining rights and such.
I'm imagining they're going to want that to be reciprocal then.
They
Well,
also don't care. They also don't care about the actual territory itself, as they've said.
They're not actually using this place. This is a territory grab. If they have the title of territory, that's all that matters to them. From
Yeah.
what I'm concerned. And they didn't have to kill anybody to take this place, except for their, siblings.
Their great Grand Cedar did. Or maybe just Grand
Yes.
Cedar, I forget whether it's 1 or 2 generations down. I think Grand Cedar
So if we're to
killed a lot of
give it-
people in the Waikosi Wars. And got
Yes.
lots of territory from it.
Fair point. I should not discount that outwardly. Actually, that's a good thing to take note of. Actually, I think that's gonna go in my spiel. All right. I think if we're all in agreement that this is the way to go about it, I would like to make the proposal.
Mhm.
Okay. I address let me see, might, force of might and will, and I say, with respect, I believe we've come to an accord on our behalf. I believe we could meet your demands with the caveat that the territory we turn over to you in title, fully yours.
The
Would
families, or the
have-
descent, not mine.
Exactly. Fully your descendancies would have a Trinity presence in an ambassadorial and perhaps mining rights and so on and so forth, depending on the system we choose. If it is entirely based on territory for you, I see no reason why this should work out in both of our favors.
So long as your Trinity presence abides by the rule of the descent. That sounds amenable.
Is that going to
Amenable to us
conflict
as
at
well.
all?
You guys can roll an insight about this.
Yeah, actually, I do want to roll an insight before I agree further.
Vash, you get the distinct sense. First off, Urgats, Thames, you. So Snoodle, you're a bit distracted. The new squad did a little, the Hydra did a little trick where it leapt out of the water and grabbed at a beam and hung there for a moment before falling back into the pool.
That's so cool.
Urgats and Turns, you both, or Thames, you both get the distinct feeling that this force of might and will is telling the truth. That as long as the Trinity presence follows the rule of the descent, the Trinity presence will be fine with the Trinity presence in any of their systems, including that one, the one you give up. Vosh, you also get the distinct sense that E does not think the Trinity would be okay with following the rule of the descent, because E does not because it is not M, but all of the descent's rules, and some of the descent E perhaps thinks would have odd rules.
I
So,
believe we
to be clear, E is perfectly okay with you doing this. E just thinks maybe you're not going to be okay with you doing this.
So I should sorry.
I believe we will need to negotiate out further what is allowed and isn't allowed, as to prevent any missteps.
Of course, that is the purpose of the actual signing ceremony. You may relieve.
Of course.
If you wish to, and you all don't even need to roll an insight. You get the feeling that the "you may leave if you wish" is a go away.
Yeah, it's very done diplomatically, but yes, everything we say could be said as preliminary, and then we hammer out the details, right?
Yeah, I'm realizing now that I should be adding these things to the notes as well. So let me just real quick do that while we're on the tether. Just don't expect me to respond to things.
Okay.
No worries.
So y'all head back to your ship, where once again you see the little drone is just hovering there, hasn't moved, or well, it's been moving around in a small circle where it's been, hasn't landed, doesn't seem to have left that area.
Are there cameras on the ship that we can check to see if it has left its area while
Certainly.
we were gone?
While you were gone, it stayed there.
Okay.
It did not. It actually, there was a portion of time while you were gone that it completely shut down.
Okay.
Strangely enough, the moment that you got off of the tether, it turned back on. Not sure why that happened, but
I will mention that.
or sorry, got onto the tether.
Sure. It.
All right.
Our little friend turned back on when we got onto the tether, and I am not well versed in robots, but that seems a little odd.
Maybe it went to sleep because it was lonely. Wishful thinking.
It
Hey
could be,
there,
and
little buddy.
the timing of its waking up could just be coincidence.
I don't think that these folks
I
deal
don't
in
either.
coincidences.
Anyone who thinks they have any sort of knowledge about how drones work, you can roll me a systems or an operate.
I don't.
I'll give it a go, but I
operate.
don't expect much. Oh,
Yeah, so Thames.
I tended to some drones before my diplomatic.
Well, no,
stuff.
you actually have, because you were on the other side of the galaxy. You did, or sorry, the other side of the Trinity space. You've interacted with drones, and if these drones, because the Mirai drones are often referred to as drones, and you've talked to Mirai, the controllers, and they often say that they're very similar in how they work. You suspect that if this drone turned back on, it's because someone was like, or if this drone went off, it's because someone said go to sleep now, and if it turned back on, it's because someone turned it back on. So perhaps coincidence is not what you should expect.
Yeah, we're being watched
Of course.
very closely.
I would
If we
like
haven't
to-
already been hacked.
You also can look back at your systems, or because of your systems check before, you look back. If you are being watched, it's not from inside your ship.
I mean, another ship observing us.
That's comforting.
The
Ish.
tether being activated.
So for instance, it could be something outside your ship watching. Could be something watching specifically just tethers. It could also be that all these New Squire are also hacking each other's ships' surveillance systems.
Sure, that would make sense too.
That would make quite a bit of sense.
In regards to our trading systems, I feel we would be limited to some degree of note into what we would be allowed to do if we adhere to all of their rules and regulations.
I would say is
I don't believe he
we
had
have-
duplicity in his agreement.
I would say, Vosh, is we probably need to. It would be done by people above us, but I'm sure is we have systems that we have that are Trinity, but we have not done anything with it at all.
Yeah,
Sure.
that certainly seems to be the case. I mean, the Frontier, for instance, is a very, very large grouping of stars that are sometimes uninhabited because it was a territory grab.
But we should be mindful of limiting future use.
You guys wish to consult the drone on this?
Yes,
Or do you-
I think it wouldn't be untowards. Ooh.
So,
That's a good point.
as you say, yes, I want to consult the drone. The entirety of this side of the ship is taken up with a hologram of our beautiful, beautiful friend. And it is like, you spoke with force. I see. If you are worried about the system, simply give him a star with nothing. If you are worried about losing territory, give him a star with nothing that is on the opposite side of your space, that he won't, or that he will never see, or that most of us will never see.
Yeah, I feel like far side of the frontier.
Yeah.
Admin
Though
limitations in
you
the system
run the
are
risk of
not much of an issue.
it is about honor, not about the system itself. And then with that, the hologram disappears.
Yeah.
My major concern is if Zeus uses it for any reason, really.
Well, we put it on the far side of the frontier. They can't reach there or do anything there legally. And, you know, if they show up and tell the Trinity Patrol, don't worry, what I'm doing here is completely legal, I feel like the Navy is going to make a discretionary call, all things considered.
I
And-
concur. I think that's the play.
And it doesn't sound like anybody here would terribly be upset if their dear cousin wound up a discretionary call.
Hey,
The other thing is
Zeus
like,
is at
sure,
least some of these people's sibling.
the big thing is like, sure, they can have like a little island where they can do whatever they want, but they have to leave that island and then abide by the rules outside of that little
I
circle.
guess to clarify my concern, which is not a big one, but one worth mentioning, that if we are expecting to be able to conduct military operations to go through there, perhaps there is a law of theirs that would, with this agreement, not allow us to do that. If there's no planet or anything there, it's less of an issue, but there are still tactical importance to a buffer on the frontier.
But if it is the frontier's border with Threatened Federation space, we don't exactly have a neighbor in that direction.
Fair.
Because the frontier sort of goes out towards, as far as we are all aware, nothing. Like, there's no political claim zone there, not even Newsquire space. So
Towards the question mark land that the Sunderers went towards.
yeah, so
Yeah, so we're still figuring out exactly what's going on
Rishi.
there. The Threatened Federation moves slowly.
yeah, so basically the part of the frontier I'm talking about, while technically still the frontier and that it was the frontier of the Human Empire, is north middle-ish of the whole Trinity. So you know, and in sort of strategic concern, there'd be no, it's worthless. There's no reason to fortify a random star, and
Then it isn't an issue, and that's delightful.
yeah, I mean, it is a little strange, but I feel like most people are either going to not know or ignore this facet anyway. But if you ask someone, they're like, yes, officially, the descent of Reign of Yestereve does, you know, legally own the title to this system. Yada yada yada. You recognize that?
We can sell them a quarter of an acre in Scotland.
Yeah, exactly. We're fucking
What
selling
else?
we're selling them the Scottish land deed, basically.
I will
Because-
put an asterisk on it and just note,
Here,
Alone in the Night definitely said
I'm
most.
sending the map into the group.
Yeah. I mean,
Most of us
I
would
am
never
under
go
the
there.
assumption and okay with Alone in the Night using this
Yeah,
place.
I'm assuming
I assume Alone in the Night will visit it.
there's also the fact that Alone in the Night is going to go wherever Alone in the Night is going to go and not really be stopped on account of the stealth tech and, you know, clear ability to hop faster than everybody else, so.
It's
Yeah.
not just
This is
Alone
the
in
battle
the Night,
cruiser,
it's
yeah.
also like the rest of the brood too, right? Maybe they want to set up like a casino or do something else there too. So yeah,
I mean, you haven't met most of the rest of the brood. Perhaps they are the sort to want to set up
Yeah.
casinos.
I would be worried about potentially. Yeah. For instance. Yeah. Well, I haven't done anyway. Something to the galactic of Voskab sounds right to me.
I mean, as long as we don't give like a Trinity capital system.
Okay. Well, you can figure out the details on that one when it comes. I'm thinking, you know, if it does have planets, then super rods that are basically useless. Some whatever. We'll look through a list of the 10 most useless systems in the Trinity, and we'll find something that works.
Yeah. As I said, this
I'm sure there's like a Trinity equivalent to BuzzFeed where it's like, would you believe that this system is systems you don't want to go to. Parentheses, and it's not what you think.
Mhm.
No, it'll work.
No,
This is preliminary, so
yeah.
so
I merely wanted to bring up a potential road bump.
yeah. But tentatively, we got 2 out of 7 agreeing. We just need 2 more to get the bare minimum.
That is
If
true.
we meet the bare minimum and we do not meet with the rest as to avoid potential conflict, would that be the
That would
conflict
be
itself?
impolite, but not necessarily like improper.
I think we
Okay.
meet with all of them, and I mean, we can basically collectively lowball the group.
I think we need to meet all of them.
True. That's an
We're
excellent
doing
point.
we're doing this in proper
Yeah,
newswide
I agree with
tradition.
this.
Yeah, we're doing this in precedence order, so I mean, yeah, I think that we sit on this one and we head to the next.
And if it's something we do not want to
Mhm.
agree to, we can just say we'll take it under consideration.
And then not. Yeah.
Excellent points.
All right, so you're going next on your list.
Mhm.
That is heading over to Paradise.
Cool.
That's what I thought.
Hmm.
Because,
So-
Paradise in a role-playing game. Yeah.
nice.
I just hope this was two
Not that
cheeseburgers
kind of
over there.
paradise. So, as you enter Paradise, it is also not. It is not filled with water. I assume you guys are all still wearing your spacesuits all these times.
I
You're not
certainly
taking them off.
am.
Yep.
I
Okay.
actually, James, if I may, a little bit of detail on my character. I'm actually wearing glamorous garb from the era at which a Ches, traditionally Ches colony, made first contact with the used since in diplomatic circles and is generally speaking considered to be part of the quote-unquote diplomatic uniform of Thren Federation representatives at this point. And very conveniently, it is designed to fit right over top of a Trinity standard spacesuit.
Sounds reasonable enough. So yeah, as you're
Also, if
walking,
you take off the suit, it has gloves underneath. It's very...
Cool.
so as you walk through there, it is a wide vaulted corridor that feels very formal, but in an informal way.
Hmm.
And there is not much more about it. There isn't anything hanging on the walls or anything like that. It just looks sort of austere, but informally austere. And you arrive at 1 second, it's loading in for me so I can paste you guys in. You arrive at this wonderful looking place. You note that you immediately see Haruko Garako, who you're used to New Squai not wearing clothes generally, but this one is naked, like splayed out on the couch, kind of like draw me like your French girls, kind of just sitting there, hanging all out there.
Oh no, are they showing
Yeah.
face?
No, they're showing. Well, yes, but not in an
No.
aggressive manner. In a, I'm reclined.
Laid out there like
Hedonism
George
bot in
Costanza.
Futurama.
Don't forget bio.
Yep, thank you. You also notice down in at the bar, there is a bartender that looks kind of like it's a species related to vet spiders, but it's clearly like working that bar. It's knows how it's doing things.
What? What?
Ah,
Oh,
friends! Welcome to paradise, where everyone gets exactly what they want, so long as that everyone is me. Please, come, sit, have a drink. I
But
am Haruko Gatagatako. I am happy that the Trinity is here to discuss this terms.
Can I check the bar? Sorry, can I look at the offered drinks? Did it look poisoned?
Samesies question. 'cause I-
They roll me a systems or a medicine.
Bollocks.
I mean, is
Oh,
there?
goodness.
Oh, you can also
Oh.
roll a scrutiny, actually, for this one.
Ah.
Would there be something the equivalent for like a hard-boiled detective to drink Rastian like?
Actually, yes, there is a wide selection of Rastian ales. And
we
I don't
actually
even
have a
know.
list. You
So,
would probably want
medicine-
Wasadobak, which is basically whiskey.
so both of you, no one rolled scrutiny, but you rolled the medicine and the systems. These probably aren't poisoned, but they are also probably the ones you noticed seem to be incredibly alcoholic.
I will consume only a polite amount. Like, what's the minimum
Right.
polite amount? Like the not like I haven't refused your offer amount.
Do they have any human liquors?
A drink. They
But Bartles and
actually
James
no,
wine
they do
cooler?
not.
Well, that's a lack and a loss.
They do, if I remembered correctly, have a single Mirai liquor, which is weird.
Oh,
Or well, a
Interesting.
Mirai intoxicant. I don't think it's actually a liquor technically.
Yeah.
oh, do they have the one with the mead? Do they have the mead?
Yes.
Cool.
So, so do you all partake, or do you try to politely decline? Or
I will
I don't need to
absolutely
do a
have a
scrutiny
whiskey.
to just pick out the specific Rastian liquor I want, right?
yeah, you can get pretty much any Rastian liquor.
Yeah, of course. It'll just be like, out of all the gin joints.
All right, I want all of you to roll an endurance real quick, or anyone who's
Including me,
drinking
a threat?
anything.
Mm.
Even if you're
Yes.
toxin tolerant?
My.
Yes,
Well, I'm assuming the toxin tolerance is
I'm
gonna
gonna give you a nice little. Yeah, it's
modifier is
let-
3, I
let's-
think, for the Thren, if it's a poison. Or like if we're gonna call it the same
Oh,
thing because
here.
it also
yeah.
gives you the alcohol
I will
bonus.
give Thren their bonus for being tolerant because it is
Okay, I got one.
a
Oh, no.
drug.
Oh no, Snoodle.
Okay, so Snoodle.
Whoa, this thing's.
Oh
got
wait,
a
you
kick.
pushed. Okay.
Yeah, I pushed, but I'm gonna just. This does have a kick.
So Thames is the Thames definitely. All of you who got you do not the liquor is heavy, but that is not what you were pushing through. Thames, you're feeling real good right now. Real
Oh.
good.
I forgot
It's just
the three,
something
3
about
to 6.
breathing.
So
Oh.
I did actually succeed.
Oh, you did succeed. Never mind. So yeah, there is you what those of you who got the shock.
They are still feeling good.
Those of you who got a shock, you're feeling a little. All of you are feeling a little bit good right now. Those of you who got a shock realized, oh, this is there's something in the air here. This isn't the alcohol talking. This is the breathing talking.
Oh wait a minute, we took off our helmets to drink.
Yes, you did.
I swiftly returned my helmet to like on top of me.
Oh,
Yeah, I
so
put mine back on
coy.
too.
I shall do the same.
And
I'm just
You
gonna be
have
like,
no
okay.
sense of fun. Here I thought the Trinity enjoyed themselves.
Oh, rest assured we do. When our shifts are over.
I will take my helmet off, pour myself another drink,
Then
throw it back, and give him a
Here's
look.
to our shifts being over soon.
and then
Some
and
of
then
us
put the
enjoy
helmet back
ourselves
on.
more.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to do that. She just thinks the bravado will go well for us.
Okay.
Yes.
I concur and make note of it.
Another endurance.
No, it's just sort of
Okay, if it's already affected.
it's
Okay.
in your system. It's
Gotcha.
making you feel a little good, but you're not feeling real good.
If it's not gonna be cumulative, I'll leave the helmet off then.
You suspect it might be cumulative after a long period of time, but yeah, probably as long as you don't spend like an hour here.
Okay.
So are you all? So as you guys are drinking, Haruko, saunters over, eating some sort of snack. It's definitely sauntering. And then she says, "Ah, yes. So, to business, I suppose. You have time and people to see. I have just simple, minor requests. Some money. Let's say ballpark 562 million Raidu. A little bit of money. And then, of course, the most important, the more important part of the money. I wish anytime I enter this system, once you've finished colonizing it, 1,000 Raidu party to be thrown. Just for whatever reason, with whatever things. Just a party. Don't worry, I won't abuse it too much."
Bruh.
Very
Finally,
interesting.
I have a bit of an odd request. The Trinity is vast and extends trailward and has relations with trailward, or with trailward
Prithee speak.
species, does it not? Yes. I hear the sentient life of the Trinity and further trailward are very interesting. I would love if the Trinity, in
I
its
actually come there.
in its capacity, would find some volunteers, willing, of course, to have a rather large interaction.
What if there are no volunteers found?
Oh, but there's always people who are interested in adventure.
I'm sure there are. But
After all, you do know where I got my name, after all.
Why don't you tell us the story? I have heard the myth, and I'm sure our friend here has as well.
Yes.
So Snoodle, you're well aware of this story. It is a myth, a very, very horny myth about a very horny rast back in olden times who had sex with a Rastian sea dragon and then also a dragon eater.
And the moral of the story was it was worth it. I mean, I was like,
On the subject of Shunga. Tentacles. Dot.
I'm only asking, as it is pertinent to the negotiations, as much of an outlier as the situation may be, it is one that we should consider, as it would be a shame to not be able to deliver on our agreement.
Right, of course. Here's a question on the subject of the proposal. Would you find it similarly amenable if, instead of going out and finding volunteers of our own pickings, perhaps if the Trinity offered you some sort of diplomatic visit to the peoples of the other side of the Perhaps we could provide you an all-expense paid vacation to whatever ends and for however long you would
I
like.
feel like you were thinking about things too small. See, this is not just, I don't want this to be personal interactions. This is a rather grand scale I have in the works already. And I would like to expand that grand scale to the whole of the known galaxy.
I am just kind of like
You guys can roll an insight if you want to like see through his innuendos, or you can guess what he's saying if you think you know.
I
his
don't know what this
I think I know, and I don't really like it.
Pat, you're breaking out. You're breaking out real bad in terms of your
Yeah,
audio.
yeah.
GM.
Everything he says makes me more uncomfortable.
GM,
Vosh.
I have an
this-
idea. Do I?
This new squire one Thames, you also know this new squire wants an orgy, and you suspect when he says on a grander scale and previously planned, he has already all of the sentient species or most of the sentient species from the spinward side of things lined up, and he just wants the Trinity and further tailward side of things also lined up to have a rather grand orgy.
Zir's got very specific notches to put on the bedpost.
So, this is going to require basically the biggest music festival of all time.
I've got a brilliant.
If Caligula
Oddly enough,
Woodstock.
Aardvark,
We promise an
Eyes
island,
Wide Shut is
an
how
exclusive
if you
resort,
guys
full
if you guys had taken off your helmets when walking through the vaunted hallway, Eyes Wide Shut is how I was going to describe your feeling upon walking through those hallways.
Delightful.
I'm just gonna nod, just like that, because I understand what he's asking for. In the back of my head, I'm like, this could be agreed to, like, because it's like, okay, who doesn't want to have like fun and do lots of drugs and all of this?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna have nightmares of maze-like ships with grand orgies occurring in them tonight. So,
Hey, this ship is not a maze.
well, no, because that's the.
Yeah,
That's true.
this ship
One of the
is a
effects of
Motel
the- yeah.
8.
Well, I'm just gonna. It's a no-tell motel.
No, this ship is a Hellfire Club cave.
True.
Vibrating beds with Rastian technology.
Oof. All right, so I think this is going to be one of those. We'll take this under advisement.
Of course. Take all the time you need.
Indeed.
Haruko,
I'm sure
now
we can come up with something that would appease you and appeal to you. In fact, we'll
Haruko
have to think about
sachets
how we can arrange it.
over to this couch, which which Z now reclines on.
Amazing.
Ah, yes. Come to think. Come back to me when you've made a decision.
Of course, we appreciate all of the fantastic offerings you've procured for us, from the beverages to the intoxicating air. We must get your recipe at some point, but we'll be in touch.
You see one of Zir's heads turn toward the bar, and he's like, can you get me a drink, please?
Does the sexy ravioli give him a drink?
Yes. Mixes one and brings it over. There you go, Haruka. Actually, no, it's a bunch of clicks, and then heads right back.
Amazing. I try to walk in as dignified a fashion towards the exit as possible, while distinctly feeling a pressing need for a shower.
Yeah. Let me get the fuck out of here.
I have a feeling this feels like I never left home.
This one's pretty close.
And y'all get back to your ship, feeling kind of dirty on the inside and on the outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have a decon shower.
I like that guy.
That's unfortunate.
Perhaps we found the first volunteer.
Oh,
I
I'm
can't believe how many
sure.
times that occurred back in the
I'm
day.
sure they've got some rats lined up already. It's not so much an issue of volunteers so much as this ain't our fucking job. We're not pimps.
Hey,
Oh boy.
I mean,
it's more like wingmen than pimps, to be clear.
Volunteers.
I mean,
you just have to
things
be
of
like,
value
hey,
are exchanging hands to make it happen. So
Yeah.
Oh,
It's along the lines of, hey, we have the coolest orgy coming up right now. Everyone's invited. You in?
Yeah, we're the club promoters. Oh god, that's worse. That's sleazier.
Yeah, we're out
I'm
of the
not
script.
saying I haven't met bees who would be down, but still.
I mean, 1,000 Raidu party, what would that be equivalent in Trinity? Would that, like, hurt the profit of this system? Like, or be like, oh god, we got an expense we didn't account for?
If my memory recalls, 1,000 Raidus is about. Lee, correct me here if I'm wrong. I don't remember what we decided the currency would be. Isn't 1,000 Raidus 100
100
luxury credits?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
okay.
it's a significant expenditure, but for a party, it's pretty tame.
Yeah.
Or well,
that's not
for
that's
a
not that bad.
system-wide party, it's pretty tame.
Yeah.
And the amount
Exactly.
is how many equivalents to a ship? 160 million or 1,000?
What? So what?
He was also asking for a gift of 560.
Oh, 562 million.
Okay, thank you.
What was the other proposal? I'm gonna write this down because I didn't. At the time.
Okay. Alone in the Night wanted a single luxury
Force
credit.
of Might and Will.
Force of Might and Will
Yeah,
wanted 10 million Raidu.
10 million, right? Got it. All right. So this motherfucker wants.
A lot of money, a big party, and you guys to be his orgy promoters.
mhm.
And by you
Sounds
guys, I
like
don't
a
mean
lot
you
of
guys, I mean the Trinity to be his orgy promoters.
Poor
Yeah,
lowly
this-
bureaucrat that has to deal with it. But we do have a
maybe
thing
lucky
from
bureaucrat.
Yeah, Haruko's asking for like significantly more than our friend to the south
This
did.
is true.
Something to keep in mind. Is there a significance to the number 562 or 500?
You can
Is that
roll
the
an
news quiet equivalent to 69?
Yeah.
No, actually, I'm not even going to make you roll an insight. It was fairly obvious. Z was pulling numbers out of the
Just
hat.
off the cuff. Okay.
Z were like, what's about an appropriate value? A little more than 500 million.
Sure.
Amazing.
do know we do have on the notes from Alone that he's not as honorable as Z says.
Yeah. This person's gonna be one of the people we snub.
If we can
Right.
afford to.
We
with
will
numbers.
only
Exactly.
agree if we can't get the others to agree. And if we get the others to agree, we can renegotiate, perhaps lower like the cost, all of that.
Perhaps a time frame as to a cooldown period between parties, perhaps.
We could call it the refractory period.
I like your
I
thinking.
like that.
And
We're putting
Are
that
you
down.
saying that the person who said I'm not going to abuse the party system much
Too
would
much?
abuse the party system?
Much?
we might mention that unless we find somebody else uninterested in the proposal, I think 10 million is a good estimate on how many Raidus we should give out to a given person, especially if Z desires parties thereafter.
Yeah.
Given that is
we
a
could
high,
probably
one of the
talk.
highest ranks, I think that's wise.
I think we could talk Zer down from 562 million to 10 million.
Yeah, do
And-
note in these negotiations, there's supposed to be a compromise, and we meet in the middle. So he gave us a high bowl Z gave us a high bowl number. We can counter propose, get that going, especially along the lines of like, well, it's going to take time to find volunteers.
I agree.
And there's also going to be the fact is
Right. And
our colonists in this system are not going to have the sort of stamina you will have. So we're going to need time to like.
yes,
Okay.
and we should. It's especially funny because the News Squad don't actually derive sexual pleasure. So yeah, no, this is definitely a sadistic thing.
You get the feeling that it might not be as much of a sadistic thing as a curiosity thing.
Either way, it's terrifying. Force of Might and Will proposed a system. We can decide the value of a system. I think it could knock a significant chunk off of that Raidu dollar amount.
I will note, as far as costs are concerned, 500 million, the hundreds of millions is about the cost of a small spaceship. So 500 million is a more expensive small spaceship, but most small spaceships are in the hundreds of millions.
Okay, that's fair.
We also didn't get sent out here to waste money, though.
That is true. Yeah, no, these are definitely starting positions for most of these.
Yeah.
They are starting positions. Also, we're probably going to be when they come to do our review, they'll be like, "Why did you agree to the first thing they gave you?"
You couldn't have
I mean,
negotiated
like,
down to a smaller
buying everybody here a small spaceship, honestly, sounds good, compared to probably some of their weirder demands. But let's find out what those are.
Oh yeah, you're gonna get, or well, actually, this next one isn't gonna be one of the weirder demands.
I would actually like to ask the
The quadcopter?
the quadcopter,
Yeah.
what percentage of Zer's partners survive the encounter?
Ooh, good point.
From what I have seen, a very high percentage. Or sorry, from what I have seen, a very high percentage. So any casualties that occur are generally due to others in the encounter, and are never due to Haruko himself, or Haruko's yourself. Z tends to avoid that side while Z is indulging his front-facing side, or their front-facing side.
That is good to know.
Alrighty. So you guys gonna head to the third vessel now? A little teeny tiny ship.
This is the fourth one.
I've
right?
been waiting for this
yes.
occasion. The formal one is one that I actually genuinely want to meet. I think this will be very fun.
It is to be clearly.
Oh, it's called. I'm sorry.
ship
It's
is
called the third vessel. I'm an idiot. Oh my god. Yes.
All right. So you guys head into the third vessel. It is a small ship, and the water seems to be around just below your knee, as though it's been like partially drained, but not fully drained because drained enough to be polite, but not fully drained. You head through a large hallway for the size of the ship. Has no side doors and no turns, simply leads from where you land or where you docked straight to a large set of doors. All along the walls there is writing. If any of you are familiar with New Squire writing, you can roll me a scrutiny or a systems to read this.
Yeah, I'm gonna scrutinize it.
Ah,
The Spiral script I've heard so much about. Allow me to examine it more closely. And,
All right.
Yep, I got one hit.
Yeah, you both can read this. From what you can understand, this is very old, so you can't. It doesn't look like it's any modern New Squire scripts you're familiar with. But from what you can understand,
the better.
This is a story of the origin of the galaxy.
Oh shit.
And all of galactic history up to a point where it just abruptly stops as though it's incomplete.
What's the point?
Prior to anything you know.
Like 100 years prior? Or
I'm definitely recording like
it hasn't
footage.
even reached the point where the New Squire exist.
Oh shit. And would we know this to be an old New Squire legend?
Doesn't that like
You do not recognize this.
So it's pre-News Squire. Does it make reference to other like creatures or actors or anything like that, like the Sunders, or just like
it
Big
makes
Bang
reference
happens?
to other things. You're not familiar enough with this particular script to understand exactly what it's saying. It is certainly not using any words that you are familiar with to represent the Sunderers or anything like that.
Are there references to the things that met the Wykos?
Yeah, Pat, get horny for us.
You
The tentacled things that fly in strange like ships.
If the News Squire don't exist yet, then I don't think.
I think this is before that still.
Oh my! Wow.
Yeah. You both also, with your single success, don't just get that basic information, but also get the feeling or get the sense that this is more than just a legend, but not necessarily, but it doesn't read like it's written as a history. It reads almost closer to it's written like a legal document or a receipt. Like it's just a statement of things that happened.
So basically like antiquity, like clay tablets when they write down that.
Like
cool.
37 pounds of grain and 12, except it's this bang happened and then this star formed and this happened and this
so,
thing
like antiquity history. Yeah, cool. But this is actually probably one of those things we probably should also have as part of negotiations, because that'd be real cool to have.
Yeah.
You guys, you can roll me a scrutiny if you understand spaceshipy stuff.
I mean, yeah, presumably Thames Thames is a talker.
Yeah,
Thames probably points all this out, translates and stuff.
These things, it's not like these are ancient tablets. This is written on the walls of this spaceship.
My.
Engraved on the walls of this spaceship, but it is from the period when this spaceship was made. Was when it was written.
On the walls.
Would it be a violation of anything to record these?
Yeah, I assume that we have our helmet cams on.
Probably not, no.
Hmm.
I mean, yeah.
Not that you know
helmet
of, at
cams on
least.
thing.
Yeah.
Well, working with primary documents, no flashing. That's it.
I will remind
Fair
you that this seems no less intrusive than all of the people in this group hacking your guys'
Well, just because they're doing it doesn't mean that we could get away with it with our negotiation.
Yeah, we're the Trinity. Hi hat.
Yeah.
Hi horse. Hi hat.
Yeah.
Fuck you, pedigree. Fuck you.
So
I'll click
you
on
guys
and record and methodically go down.
all right. So after a little bit of time, you guys come to the cockpit
The cockpit
of the third vessel. And the new squire turns before you enter and walks up to you and says, welcome, Trinity. Welcome, Trinity. I understand my name might be difficult for your incomplete tongue. So, you may call me Seeker. That is my title, after all.
Seeker.
No, Seeker. There are many Seekers. I am.
Indeed.
My apologies.
It's a pleasure to meet you,
Seeker.
Seeker.
Thank you. It is a pleasure to be met. So, this cockpit actually looks... If you've ever been in just a standard cockpit before, it's a little smaller than but it looks basically like a standard personal cruiser's cockpit. But it's also very bare bones. There's almost no decoration. The only decoration you've seen in this entire ship was that writing.
Huh. And it stops abruptly at some point.
Yes. Seeker then looks at you and says, I understand most of you, looking at Velp, do not appreciate the water. I can drain it the rest of the way if you would prefer.
We're not in the water right now, are we?
It's a little wet on like the bottoms of your feet, but no, these are raised up from the water that is below these walkways.
I would say, this amount is quite all right.
We are quite comfortable, but we do appreciate your concern. We...
Hey. In that
My
case,
internet keeps cutting out.
I apologize for the lack of decor, but it would be improper. Then comes over to you guys if you guys entered the room further. But have you guys entered the room further? Yeah, A comes over and hands out.
Diplomatically, head closer. We don't want to.
I've mostly been sticking close to E of A.
A hands out some glasses that are currently filled with a clear liquid, and says, if you would not be offended to toast water, let us have a toast to the last century and the one to come.
This is fresh water?
Yes.
Clean of parasites and such?
Are you asking me or the Seeker? Or Seeker?
I believe this is part of the same. Is this fresh water? Is this water that is free of bacteria? It's all part of the same questionnaire.
Yeah,
To
yeah.
seeker.
Yes, of course. You are guests.
Excellent.
If I had more than I have, then I would give more. But I have only what I
You do
have.
not need to offer more than what you have. That is more than what we ask. I am amenable to toasting one. Can I do so?
Is there any sort of in Thren culture, as in our human one, where toasting with water is bad luck?
I think the Thren actually do have a thriving alcohol culture. I think it would be weird for a Thren to toast water.
Weird, but not necessarily.
My character is
like-
doing so, considering it very weird.
You can roll a communicate to politely decline if it's because it is kind of culturally weird.
I was just, if it's just weird, that's I got no problem with that. But if it would have been,
Do I think that there's a particular significance to toasting with water?
You can roll me a systems.
With sociology help?
Yes.
Alright.
So yes, there is a weirdness to toasting with water. In New Squad culture, it's not necessarily bad luck or bad. What it is sort of it's a sign of lacking. Because if you toast with water, that means it is either a sign of lacking or a sign of excess. Because it either means that you do not care about water if you are in a dry place, or it means that you do not have anything else to toast with if you are not. So with the water around, you sensing that A is at least trying to appear as lacking in things.
So a sort of aesthetic thing, like we're saying he's acting like a Franciscan monk, like reject.
Yeah, air is some sort of, it is a mocha religious figure.
I'm going to roll to politely decline. Just to keep things interesting, I'm going to say I'm from a Thren culture that views it as a little unlucky.
Of course,
Just for
I
some
understand.
spice.
Roll your communicate.
Yeah, no, I mean, so the Thren come from a world where the ocean, is extremely dangerous, and the waves crash onto the earth catastrophically. So it wouldn't be untowards for a Thren to say water is sacred if offered. It's
I respect your beliefs, but unfortunately, for my beliefs, I must excuse myself from this toast.
Of course. I would never infringe on one's beliefs.
Not.
How is water in Rast religious society? Would this be like one of those things where it's like, okay, we also can toast with water, or there's some religious significance with it?
There's quite a few Rast religions. Most of them have relations to water, but like particularly salt water. Fresh water would have been quite scarce up until the point where a large continent was discovered to the south that was uninhabited by Rast prior to that, due to the fact that the Rastian oceans are filled with monsters. So old world religions may have some sort of water as sacred tenets to them, fresh water that is. But I think by and large, water is not something that is scarce on Rast Prime. There are many Rast cultures, and if you want to say something is true of the culture you hail from, that's entirely up to you. But I don't have anything written with regards to Rastian religions and sacredness of water.
Okay.
Again, though, Rast, diverse people.
Well, I mean, it's like what Greg Stafford talks about, like, not all cultures are monocultures. There's always going to be like differences between them, even within the same thing. So yeah, no, I would say his water is also considered sacred, and like where he's from, fresh water, all of this. So yes, I'll partake in the ritual and be very observant.
Yeah, it is water.
Following the tenets. Yeah,
it tastes of water. There is nothing in the air. There's
I love how we've dawdled at this one particular point more than
I-
practically anything else.
I just wanted everything's been going so swimmingly. I just wanted to
Mhm.
add in an
Oh, look,
opportunity
it's
for
a water pun.
Swimmingly, water.
Stop,
Usually catch-
Zyra. I'm afraid
So,
if we keep
I'm
splashing
drowning.
around in the subject matter like this, I think you're gonna get me all
This
wet.
is what happens when you have a diplomacy game. At some point, everybody starts joking.
so you're on from the toast to business, or to what you are here to discuss. I do not wish for much. It would be rude to. I think, of course, a standard fee, 10 million Raidu. And I have a request. See, I have some friends and family that have a pious journey they must partake in. And this journey will take them through Trinity space. Now, of course, they will abide by all laws and reason, as we all do. But I would appreciate it if they were able to travel through Trinity space entirely unharassed, so that their journey of enlightenment may not be slowed.
So, their journey of enlightenment after going through Trinity Customs, or is that off the table too? In this
If you truly wish them to go through customs at your border, they will. They can if you wish. Though, A gestures around. I doubt you'll find much.
I would like to insight check.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Talk Fiddler, are you implying that James would include a dark story element in this campaign? My. Very
Yeah, A is telling the truth. A does seem to be choosing air words carefully, but A is definitely telling the truth. That these people will submit to customs on the way in, and they will go through. And also, they will have very little. All right. Thames, you get the same feeling about it. Ergots, you get some unsettling feelings about this. Specifically, you are reminded of your studies. This sounds like religious cultish behavior, and New Squai cults tend to not be the kindest to people. And Seeker is definitely telling the truth.
Mhm.
A definitely is saying, hey, these people are just on a journey. They're just going through. It's gonna take some time, but they're just going through. They will subject themselves to customs, all that. But you also get the feeling that perhaps there is more at play than a pious journey, I shouldn't say more. Perhaps the pious journey of enlightenment isn't necessarily a great thing.
Well, Seeker, I must say, I am a student of various Newsguy cultures and traditions, and I am fascinated by this journey of enlightenment. That we might be better enlightened as well. Would you care to share with us what they will be doing on their journey, or where they may be heading? Perhaps we could better facilitate their travel if we knew more about the itinerary.
That I do not know their itinerary yet. The spotter's purpose is to find their itinerary.
Ah, and what does the spotter seek to spot?
anything, everything. It is not theirs to judge, but to watch.
Ah, I see. So they observe, like.
Do not worry. We have nothing against the Trinity. We simply need to move through Trinity space.
So will the spotters be observing in Trinity space, or is their objective to?
I think
Travail
there are already
beyond.
laws in place to allow for religious privileges. Pilgrimages.
Of course, I believe that the Trinity seems quite enlightened in that respect. I would want it to be more. Their itinerary will be wandering, of course, to find what they are meant to find.
And then who will judge when
And
they return?
I
with the
do not
information?
wish them to be distracted by anything. So I unwanted eyes, unwanted ears, people stopping them.
How is it certain? Are you certain that what they are seeking is not in Trinity space, and that they truly need to just go through it all?
I am
To
not
get to their
certain
destination?
of anything, but we have suspicions that it is beyond.
But has he considered that perhaps what they are meant to find will unfold through those interactions? If they don't know what they're looking for, perhaps it will be revealed to them in
The
those
Trinity
interactions.
has nothing to do with what they are looking for. Hence,
This-
stopping those interactions is ideal. If the Trinity had to do so that they were looking for, I doubt we would be having this conversation.
Oh.
Your used tailword types tend to be too suspicious of enlightenment.
Enlightenment comes in many forms, such as the cult of the Broodfather and other
What of
organizations.
those old men?
Ah, well,
Or those old people?
they believe that they have their own form of enlightenment, and I would say that many within the Trinity seem that they have found it as well. Perhaps if you could explain to us better what your people were looking for, we could help you speed them on their way and ensure that they did not have any tiring interactions. Surely they will need some sort of provisions on their journey that could be provided.
Did you see the wall outside?
Indeed,
Yes.
It is incomplete.
that is true.
Then you have your answer.
I want to insight that to see how.
Alrighty.
Because
You guys can definitely roll
I will
insight.
also-
there's an obvious implication, but I feel like A is hiding behind Air's trickery. A little trickery behind the air, if you will. If you won't.
All right. Anyone else? And by anyone else, I mean Vens. Are you? Or Thames?
Are
you gonna roll?
Sure, why not? Okay.
So let's start out. Vosh. A seems rather polite and trustworthy. They haven't lied to you yet. Velp. Yes, this new squad is telling you the truth. They just seek to complete that whatever that is. Thames and Airgats, you both get a slight uneasy feeling. You also get that A is telling the truth. That A is just seeking to complete whatever that is. But it still kind of gives you those tingles on your back where it's like something is up there.
All right, I'm gonna do an uncharacteristic thing, and I'm gonna reach an insight check.
Go for it.
What exactly?
All right.
Am I, uncomfortable
A,
with.
You get the feeling that A is being entirely honest about not wanting to deal with the Trinity because they don't care about the Trinity. You also get the feeling that the completion of what you are reminded when your friends who were reading it told you about that thing outside. It doesn't read like a history. It reads like some sort of legal thing or accounting ledger. And you get the feeling that that is the significant point. Mm-hmm. That perhaps the finishing of that is not just like, I want to know all of history, but there's actually some tangible thing at the end of knowing all of history.
Do I think it has to do with wanting unfettered access to Sunderbur ruins, Waikosi ruins? Do I think that they're going to step into diplomatic meetings and be like, hello, we are here to observe?
Again, he is A is being entirely honest about not wanting to deal with the Trinity at all.
Things.
Nothing to do with the Trinity. They think, it sounds like they think this shit is trailward, and they don't want to be observed. They don't want to be troubled, and also they specified
I will say
entering. Sorry,
yeah.
This
what
is beyond.
What were you gonna say?
They specified when they would be willing to submit to customs when they first enter. Meaning the Seekers will have nothing, just provisions and themselves to observe. Mm-hmm. A did not consent to a check when leaving.
Are you going to ask about that?
Yeah, I would say, now it does occur to me that the Seekers are likely going to return, perhaps to your fold when their mission is complete.
Spotters, but yes.
What will happen on the way back, to ensure that we are in a good position in terms of all of our considerations and what's going through Trinity space, which is important because if there is to be an accident, these items can become marooned, or if there is some contest of ownership, there could be some issues.
If you are asking when they return into, or when they pass once again into our space, you can check again. They will still have nothing. Also, all of you who did, anyone who got more than 2 on the last insight check, A is being honest here. But to Thames, A does not think that's going to happen soon.
Oh, thank you, Sock Fiddler.
And to be clear, by soon, I mean on a not on a minor scale or a human scale soon. I mean like A thinks that's going to be a century or 2 away. A is only like 90% sure the Trinity will still exist when they return, or when the spotters return to New Sky space.
Okay. The issue is that we're just going to have pretty much permanent squatters. Got it.
Missionaries.
I don't say that out loud.
Are you saying that some random missionaries being allowed into a country has done problematic things for that country in the past?
I can't think of a single time.
Not even.
Just many.
I mean, you know what? I am, my character is of a very open-minded persuasion and does not actually see all that much of an issue here. My character also does not come from Earth. And my character does not necessarily know some things that missionaries have done on Earth. I mean, you know, they probably would know to an extent.
So Sancta is
I don't think this is even an issue here.
Sancta is going to say, so the Seekers won't know where to look. Spotters won't know where to look, but
we Seekers have other things to do.
But the Spotters, when they find it, will return empty-handed to inform.
It is not the Spotters' role to take anything.
Is it the Seekers' role to take?
It is the Seekers' role to to find the journey. It is the spotter's role to take the journey. It is other people's roles to look into the journey and to understand and to do things about the journey, and to act on the journey and to learn about the journey and to interpret the journey.
Fascinating. It seems that you have quite an extensive organization then. Would you mind?
We are small.
But you have multiple roles across, I would assume, different strata of Newsquai. Is there
a question?
Is there a position from which your organization operates in the event that, say, your spotter's ship were to become derelict or they run into some issue and they weren't able to return, that we would be able to forward a message about their fate to? It seems that you're expecting to send them on a long journey through space, and space has many dangers, even when it is well patrolled.
If our spotters die, then they die. This is the risk that spotters take. All us spotters took this risk.
Ah. And have now you, Seeker, ascended from the role of spotter to Seeker by taking the risk?
There are many ways to ascend, and many reasons, and many paths. All of them are to find your purpose.
Makes sense.
Well, I am sure you have to think about it. You seem ill at ease with the prospect.
These spotters.
Well,
Yes,
it shouldn't be any too big of an issue.
No,
After
no,
all,
not
we
at
do
all,
have
correct.
we do have open and we have border, which is certainly happy to receive travelers from Newsquai space. So the spotters will certainly be able to journey. It's just a question of who we will need to inform and what regulations they will need to observe. For example, will they have a transponder that is active, or will they not have an active transponder? That sort of matter of traffic and detail. At this point, largely a bureaucratic consideration.
I would say and appreciate if they had that they will have an active transponder that, if viewed by the Trinity, would be left alone. Having no active transponder would make them seem a threat. And they are no threat to the Trinity.
Yes, we do frown upon that. I think we can work out these bureaucratic details at a later point, but suffice to say, they would have to be operating with a transponder in Trinity space as is per regulation. We'll figure out exactly what that transponder details, what balances they'll have, et cetera, later. Yes?
Of course. Now you may leave if you wish, or stay for more time, though there is little you could do here. Seeker returns to the console.
We appreciate you letting us into your abode and sharing with us your requests with regards to the transaction at play. We will take that into consideration and come up with how we see is a fair way about this.
Of course.
Thank you.
And you head back to your ship.
As is going to become my custom, I'm going to check the tape for what the...
Okay, so I don't actually really...
What?
We're checking the tape to see what the quadcopter's been up to, and also, honestly, I'd be like, hey, friend,
Like every other time, the quadcopter shuts down shortly after you leave, and starts back up shortly before you come back onto the ship.
So what I'm always hoping to see. Could I scrutinize it to see if it's exactly the same as last time? Like if they've just recorded this once somehow onto our tapes and are replaying the same thing?
Well,
Exactly the right kind of
you
fucking
can roll a
paranoid. I
scrutiny
love
for
it.
that. I will say this is probably going
Or
to be a
whatever's
pretty
appropriate.
difficult roll because it is
Sure.
sitting in the same corner, and there's no indication of the outside from the cameras looking at that corner. So
Fair
the
enough.
only real difference is the time.
I will root around. I'll root around for signs of looped footage.
We were gun for a different time.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
There are no signs of loop footage. Again, you've locked this computer down.
I will say I conclusively believe that there's no loop footage.
Yeah. You, Vash, you don't think this is looped footage. You do know that no matter the amount of time that it's shut down for, it seems to shut off every time the moment that the tether opens into the new ship, and shut on or turn on every time the moment the tether closes from the new ship.
It seems that it's tied to the tethering.
Which could be remotely observed by...
Indeed. It doesn't necessarily mean anything, but...
Although, and I say this on suit like radio, I would just point out, if they really wanted to watch us, I doubt they would need to use the duplicity of a quadcopter we can see, considering the technology they have at their disposal.
I agree, but...
Alone
Things
at
are
the Knight's alone in the Knight's preferred pronouns are it.
It. It would need...
This is going to... well, and that also always makes me uneasy.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
It's going well.
it's a negotiation
Too
with a bunch of
well.
people who pretty much don't care, but want things.
I would assume that next in line is our representative that we've been loath to see this whole time. Am I correct in
Next in line after
that,
the good seeker is the good who you suspect is the face of sin itself in beginning through understanding.
Oh, I was wrong. Oh, it's the young one.
Yeah.
The youngling.
Doesn't like.
I will
siblings rude
remind
things
you,
up, not please. Ship is wrong,
that
actually.
Alone in the Night definitely said all of the people are respected and liked as is their place or as their right and precedence. You're seeing this.
With all due respect.
Mhm.
So are you guys head over, I assume, to Alone in the Night, or do you want to talk with the quadcopter about Seeker and what's going on with the Seeker?
Yeah, let's maybe pitch one over the bat, or base, whatever it is. Yeah, let's mention that we spoke to Seeker, and perhaps ask what exactly A plans to do in Trinity space.
Nothing. I suspect A are going to remain on this side of your border.
Well, air representatives in air cult might not. Was
It
Well, yes.
it answered the
yeah.
question you asked.
Interesting.
Made a good point. That wasn't what I asked. Thank you.
As far as Air's other
Air
family,
missionaries.
as far as Air's other family, or Air other family, what did A specifically tell you?
I requested that Air religious affiliates would be permitted to enter Trinity space without impunity after passing customs, take nothing, leave nothing, etc., etc. Bring nothing, take nothing. I don't know about the leaving thing. And essentially have free access to Trinity space so long as air missionaries acted under Trinity law in the process. Which strikes me as too good to be true. Do you have any input on this?
It
I
is
understand if you
likely
don't.
true. The claimants do not care about the youth.
Then there's really no duplicity here.
What is their objective in obtaining the information the rest of the information carved inside of their ship? What will it
Honestly,
mean when
it
they
sounds
have
religious to me.
it felt less religious and more like a ledger.
Is not could not a ledger be a part of a religion? For it is to them.
Sounds right to me. I think we've got a straight shooter.
Is there a prophecy in their religion for completing the timeline or the ledger?
It is not about the claimants do not care about the future so much as the now and the past.
Doesn't really seem all that different from your quest then, Sanka.
Why would they not want the Trinity to come aboard their vessel? What might we find if we did?
Generally, I suspect nothing. Information, probably. But more likely, the youth. You youth are tedious.
Information is far from worthless, or something to be cast aside.
I suspect
Well,
the
yes,
kind of
that is-
information they deal with isn't particularly the information we tend to, being our youthful selves.
True.
That is likely part of it, but again, you tend to operate frequently, and that can get bothersome in the grand scale.
Fair.
You know what? The more and more I think about it, the more and more I like this individual. Rather straightforward in their demands.
Did you not feel ill at ease from something about how they were framing and discussing their objectives? Just struck me as, I don't know. They have to have a reason. I'll bet it's the information.
How far have you gone for information?
Well, I once took a trip to a different system because they had some, stuff I wanted to inspect physically, and I mean, that took a few months round trip.
It seems, as the quadcopter was relating, a smaller scale version of what they're doing.
The overall lack of commitment to anyone in the party staying alive. I don't know. We're pretty committed to living our best lives.
We like being
Right
alive.
now.
We like being alive.
We do.
Well,
I'm willing to explore alternatives.
all right. So, question: it is
But yes.
midnight 10. Do you want to stop now, or do we want to start and go through at least part of the the interactions with the face of sin itself?
I
It's
personally find
fun.
it difficult to
I
pick up in the middle of. a week later, but
That's fair
I'm
enough.
also not.
Yeah,
the
that's why
face
I'm
of-
asking is that
Yeah.
I am not. The face of sin itself is not is going to be a not necessarily a long conversation, but it is going to be a lot of stuff going on that you might look at, and so you might want to push it off until next week if you're worried about stopping in
Okay.
the middle.
Yeah,
I mean-
if you think that this is a good stopping point.
I would say this would be a good idea to just be able to review our notes and just be like, okay, what do we have here? Pull this, and then when we get the new information from the rest, it would be great.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
no, this works as a stopping point. You've gotten through
Four.
four of the 7.
Yeah, so it's
And the ones up
more to
ahead
go,
are some
and
of the
then
shorter ones,
final
and then
countings. Sorry.
what were you gonna say?
I said 3 more to go, and then final accountings.
Mhm. Not
And
Sounds good to me.
with how you're going, I suspect the final accounting should be relatively painless, assuming you still get your majority.
Right,
We
we're
have
gonna have
a-
to work on that.
If we if we agree to all the demands, we have the mission accomplished.
Yeah.
I don't think we should
I mean, we're gonna
hang our
we
hats on
need
that
to
right
have a
now,
moment to
but-
just look over what are their demands.
No, I agree.
Like,
Yeah.
the first one alone, we can agree. Second one, we had a lot of discussions about systems. That's probably going to be one where we're going to have to hammer it out more fully.
Mm-hmm.
The other two, the religious one is like, okay, but we're just very concerned about that one. And then the universe's biggest orgy.
He's got some issues that we might need to think about.
It needs
Uh,
you need to follow proper safety procedures for this.
Yeah, I think
You have to have
definitely,
liturgy, bureaucrats
on the
involved.
religious one. Mm-hmm. We will,
You know,
we'll look for,
referees on the orgy who are like wearing full
Yeah.
spacesuits the whole time, being like, no, stay. Avina,
Foul!
don't you go
Foul!
biting that
Foul!
fast. You stay over there.
Listen, these are the safe words. All of this.
Foul.
Now
Who
I'm
let the
curious as
dragon
what's-
eater in here?
yeah.
Oh my god.
How dare you, sock fiddler? I totally want them all to live and deal with the consequences of their actions and choices from this entire diplomacy.
Oh, no. Not the fate worse than death. Dealing with
Bureaucracy.
repercussions of my actions.
It worse than the bureaucracy.
You say that, yeah.
Insight check, James.
You get the feeling that James is telling the truth. James thinks it's much more entertaining if to be like, yes, and the Trinity says, really?
I happen to agree. Orgy.
Really? You're gonna make us a pimp?
Technically, they just want us to be the club promoter.
That's fair. But also not. Not what we signed up for.
Alrighty, so
All right. I think we're in agreement that that we'll save the remaining 3 for next week.
Yep.
Indeed, dreamers. Thank you for joining us, and find us next week, same time, same place, Saturday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, on Diesel Shot for a good bit of crake, as the Irish would say.
see all the other weird requests that they're gonna get.
Is there anything you want to do, James, before I raid?
No, yeah, I think
do people in the group have anything they'd like to shill before we do
Oh
that?
yeah, people.
Oh, yeah.
Or
Shilling.
I'd like to put in a shilling.
Yeah.
two to the pod.
Maybe a tuppence or a pence.
Yes, please,
Yes.
please.
We
This
do
is
accept-
literally what
Perhaps
this is
6
for.
pence, and then we'll all be none the richer for it. But
Mhm.
I am Natalie, also known as Dark Aardvark. You can find me on my Twitch channel tomorrow night, where I'm playing Revolution, which is Mutants Mastermind's 3rd edition game, superheroes in the 1980s.
Nope.
It's fun times. They're
Anything
gonna
else
be-
that people?
Hell yeah. Do you have a link to your Twitter page?
I
Or
can,
Twitch page?
I
Sorry.
can throw that in there.
If you don't mind, we would love to have a link to it. I might not be following you yet, and that would be a pure shame.
It would be, but I did find
Let
out
me make
last
sure that I
2
am.
nights ago that I wasn't in your Discord, and I really thought I was. The horror.
Oh, I know it happens all the time. It's so embarrassing, but like,
Yeah.
I feel you. Because like, I think the assumption is like before meeting someone and talking to them, you're already following all their stuff,
Right?
and
Yeah.
that's not necessarily always the case. And I always feel rude doing it, but like, I have just followed you, for instance. Thank you for sharing the link.
Yes. No worries. As we just discussed, it happens.
Yes. And I always feel awful doing it, but yeah. Better to have a follower than not.
Indeed.
Everybody, check out Dark Aardvark. She's a rad person. Check out her stream.
Mm.
And I don't think we're streaming tomorrow night, so I'll put you on.
There we go. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Heck yeah.
Yes, Sparrow. If you like Sparrow from seeing him on the channel, Hope is also on the Sunday night stream. So.
Mm.
Oh, and I should also mention real fast, Tuesday nights, Hope and I and Robin Kaikasi, who has also been on this channel, although it might have been a while, talk about Star Trek. Currently watching The Next Generation. I'm watching it for the first time.
Mm.
They've both seen it, so.
Wait, Sparrow's on your stream? No kidding.
Sparrow's on both
Hmm.
Sunday and Tuesday, so. Even if you're ambivalent about me, but you like
Oh,
Sparrow.
she be out here. He be getting her around.
Yay. Well then,
Oh, yes.
and I think
I don't have
Does
anything that I
anybody
want to
else have
pitch
any,
to you guys
anything
who
else
sat
they'd
through
like
this
to
whole
show?
nonsense. That sounds like the wrong crowd for just about anything.
amazing.
You're so depreciating. I feel like this is a very fun episode. So you shouldn't feel so.
Oh, Pat, apparently your cam froze.
Back.
Bummer.
I mean, on the
I've
bright
been
side,
having
it's always on a
internet issues
delightful
all night.
frame.
Well then, I think that we are going to raid Madbird Streams. Thank you all for coming out, dreamers. And until next time, fairly well.
Enjoy yourselves.